Hello, friends, and welcome back to the Adventure Starts Here podcast. This week, we played Look Outside, a nightmare fuel filled phobic nightmare survival horror RPG where you play as Sam, an average unemployed Joe trying to survive a Cronenberg monster filled apartment. Please be aware this is a full spoiler discussion. We discuss all aspects of the narrative, including the endings and important plot beats. There are also some spoilers for Expedition 33 and Near. With that out of the way, enjoy the episode. All right, so for this week, we played Look Outside. I almost forgot the name of the game. I believe Thomas chose this game. Why the hell did you pick this wild nightmare of a game, Thomas?
It's funny you say you almost mispronounced the name of the game because I fucking do that. Like every time I type the name "Look Outside," I'm like, that's not the name of the game. No, it is. It just doesn't look right ever for some reason. But regardless, uh, I think this game just like randomly popped into my Steam queue, like just kind of sight unseen. Like I don't even go through my Steam queue that often, but there was a day where I was like, I'm gonna go through a couple loops of this and I'd never heard of it. I knew nothing about it, but the trailer and the aesthetic really jived with me as a person who is a fucking huge horror stan. So later came to learn that it was actually made by two of the guys behind Barkley Shut Up and Jam. So eventually, this would have found its way into our pause regardless, because yeah, that game's a fucking classic. But game's just a survival horror RPG in the style of like an Earthbound-like, full of grotesquerie and macabre looky-loos. So it all kind of lined up with what looked to be an honest-to-God perfect game for my tastes.
Yeah, I'm also gonna say right off the rip for any listeners, and I kind of wish we knew this ahead of time for our own purposes, but yeah, this game is fucked up. Like, especially if you have trypophobia, like, don't play this fucking game. That there's gonna be game footage playing for this game while we talk about this, and there's probably gonna be some pretty gnarly stuff in there. So, viewer beware on that stuff. Holy moly!
Oh, I guess I'm just an asshole because the fucked up, nasty shit in the trailer is what made me be like, yes, sir.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I loved all of it, but there's going to be a lot of people that just would not be able to play this game. But that's part of what I was going to get at is like I'm kind of surprised that we hadn't heard of this game. Like Jordan, had you heard of this game? Ben, have you heard of this game?
Yeah, I didn't know
No.
that was made by the Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden people, but I knew it was a thing, basically since it came out. But yeah, not to the extent of what it was.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously we'll get into it, but I was kind of surprised that I just hadn't heard of this game at all. And Thomas said he just found it in a Steam discovery queue because this game is pretty fucking crazy. But yeah, we'll get into it. But briefly, so one of the big concepts of this game that I think is like a running pattern throughout exploring this, unemployed guy's apartment, uh, is that like all of the grotesque monsters that you're coming across are becoming these like conglomerations of what they were around at the time that they looked outside, as it were. So you have the baby by the window that looked outside that was teething, and so it becomes this giant teeth monster and infects everyone around it. You have people in the sewers that were around the pipes that start becoming conglomerated with those things. So the question I have for you guys with that idea, if you were to look at the visitor, and I don't mean in this very moment, like we're all by our computer, so obviously you would turn into your computer, but what would you transform into if it's like the most common thing that you're around in your like household or maybe your workplace or something like that?
It would definitely be my computer. I would look like Panopticon, whatever that boss is called, with the gerbil shit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
how
the
I feel
security camera
too.
feed.
Cause like I work from home, so like no matter what, I'm just right here in front of this computer.
So my interpretation of like the shape that people take is more that it's like something that's like really heavily like occupying their mind. I don't think there's like a hard and fast rule for like who turns into what, but there's definitely some people that you can tell like were thinking about something and turned into it. So for me, My house has been at like 15% humidity for like 2 weeks straight, and my fucking skin is so dry, and I keep like getting like these annoying rashes and shit. So the thing that's always at the top of my mind is where is the nearest bottle of lotion? So I would probably just turn into a fucking
Yeah.
being of pure lotion.
That's funny.
I would probably be really gross and smell really bad because it would probably be dirty dishes. Because like every single time I get home, that's at the top of my mind. Is like, I mean,
That's funny.
like I always do my doing dishes is probably my like number one routine. I think I mentioned that on the other episode we did. Like if there's a dish in the sink, I'm fucking doing that shit. And so along those lines, yeah, I would just be a bunch of fucked up, dirty dishes oozing dirty food pus all over the place.
That's gross.
That's a good one.
This entire game was gross.
That's
Yeah,
true.
It's really hard to come up with an answer to this question because every result you have to envision it, and it is like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
agree with this game is gross. I think it's just grotesque. Like nothing. I was never really like "Ugh," for anything. It was more just like
I
holy
can
shit.
see there's like the trypophobia thing that you mentioned stuff. I
Oh,
can
yeah.
see that for certain characters that you made.
There was no
They
like
were pretty
shit
uncomfortable.
monsters or anything like crazy. At least I didn't think it was gross. I thought it was more grotesque.
I thought there were two that were pretty gross. One was like the definition of trypophobia, the guy that was bitten by a bug and his entire room is becoming like infested
Oh,
by
yeah.
a hive. And when Nestor becomes infested by worms and he takes over Eugene, that was pretty gross.
I saw that one later, but yeah, that one's sick.
That was like one of the very first ones for me. It was crazy. Okay. Yeah, I feel like so like one of the questions I wanted to open up that's related to this is like I feel like the game opens pretty strongly for however you want to interpret that, in the sense of like you wake up, you have some urge to look out the window, Sybil yells at you like you should look outside, it's so beautiful, and you do, and you get to see that lovely animation. It's one of like 2 or 3 animations in the entire game, I think. Maybe there's more that I don't remember, but there was this like theme of like you're told to do something, and if you just like follow the letter of the law and do that, it's probably not going to go too well for you. But the question I kind of wanted to ask, like, did you guys feel that as like a good thing throughout most of the game, or was it like powerful enough to keep you engaged in that way? Because like basically what I'm trying to get at is throughout this entire game, I was asking myself, why did I rate Hello Charlotte low, but I'm going to give this game a high rating? Why did I do that? And I still haven't fully come to answer that exactly. And when I'm thinking of that, I'm specifically thinking of all the troll deaths, quote unquote, that you can get in this game, like looking outside the window at the start of the game. How did you guys feel about those throughout the game? I know there were a couple questions in there, but yeah.
I think they were fine because they were, for the most part, obvious. Like the only time you really would get owned would be the one with the panopticon, basically, where like you're just switching through the feeds and then you look at it and then you die. But I think the rest of them, it's kind of like, yeah, I know what's about to happen. Can't think of anything that really fucking owned me besides the obvious ones.
I guess my answer to that is that those kinds of deaths didn't really bother me in Hello Charlotte either, I guess.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I mean, same to be honest. I mean, I think that like as a as the resident person on this podcast who actually did like Hello Charlotte pretty much all the way through, I think the answer to that question is a little obvious, and just that like there's way more game with the game, you know? Like there's more stuff to keep you engaged rather than just kind of like aimlessly slogging through what is just not very fun gameplay to get to the next like art piece or interesting bit of dialogue or whatever. Like in between those moments in this game, there's a game.
I also, and this is like more subjective, but I feel like the premise behind Look Outside, like just like the inklings of like the lore that they give you, and I just feel like it's a lot more impressive than what Hello Charlotte was trying to do, which is more of like a, I don't know, kind of like live journal style drama.
Yeah, exactly. Like Hello Charlotte is more like personal to the person that was making it, and this game is much more like blown out in scope.
Exactly.
I hope this game isn't personal to the person making it.
Very true.
Francis, oh god, I hope that I hope Francis is doing okay, just like I hope that Ethrain was doing okay.
Yeah, for
Very
sure.
true.
He seems fine.
Yeah, I watched the stream for a little bit. He seems like he's chilling. But yeah, part of the reason I'm asking that is because like what you were saying is definitely true with regards to there being more game, but at the same time, especially Thomas, you're the only one of us that played on Survivor where you can't save wherever you. Oh wait, no, but you had the mod where you could save wherever you wanted to. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I think if you didn't have that mod and then you ran into one of those deaths, it would definitely be a lot more annoying, especially depending on when you last save, right? Like if you were like, fuck, the telescope was up or something, and then you lose like an hour of progress, you probably just punch your monitor and go play something else.
Yeah, and that's why I put this question down here of like, most of us played on Explorer, where you can save wherever you want. Thomas played on Survivor, but with a mod where he could save wherever he wants. And that's why I put this question down here about if you were a human with unlimited time and motivation, do you think this is a better game on Survivor without any mods? Where like you could potentially lose like 3 or 4 hours of progress because of like a dumb troll death or something you weren't expecting.
I think it depends on what experience you're looking for, because it's a more impactful and memorable experience to play on Survivor, but it's a more fun and streamlined experience to play on Explorer. So I think it just depends on what you're looking to get out of the game.
So here is my opinion. My opinion would be the first time you play the game, just play Explorer. Like, I don't think Survivor actually like meaningfully adds a lot to what a first time experience would bring, but I think that if you decided you wanted to go a second time to get like different party members or like different endings or whatever, then I think playing on Survivor would be cool. Because like, to be honest, like I installed that mod before I ever even like launched the game, just based on what you guys said in Discord. I was like, nope, fuck that, and just immediately Googled a mod. But in going through it, I don't actually know that it would be as restricting as it sounds like on its face if you knew kind of like the deal, like what bosses were hard, what areas were hard, like where you should save before you go in there. Which is why I think playing on Explorer first would make sense, and then every subsequent playthrough, I think you should just play Survivor.
On Survivor, since I didn't do it, does that not have autosave either? Like,
No. The way that it works is that you can only save at Sybil, and you can only save once your what's it called, the fear meter or whatever.
Danger or something, yeah.
Yeah, danger meter, fear meter, whatever it is, gets to 1 tick, and then you can go back and save. But remember, every time you go in your apartment, it resets it. So
Oh, okay. That's actually better than I thought. I thought you would only be able to save like after you sleep, like at the start of every day. But if you just have to get your danger meter up, that's not nearly as bad, actually.
yeah, it's not as bad as it sounds. But again, I think that it would be a lot less fun your first time around, because you would get so many of those random deaths, and it wouldn't feel challenging so much as it would just feel like a complete like tax on your time, and that's just never fun, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's why I really think it's all about perspective, because I think some people really like that level of challenge and like hardcoreness and like figuring that as you go through it and everything. Like they don't want a streamlined air quotes baby experience. They want like difficulty and challenge, and I think that this game really would bring that at a nice in between kind of level, that because like Fear and Hunger I think is the extreme of that, and then this is kind of like would be an introductory to a game like that, because I don't think it's as brutal.
Yeah, and I think that that's true, but like in my eyes, I think everything else that Survivor adds, like just basically taxing more of your resources, which is really like what the difficulty of the game is on Survivor
yeah.
versus Explorer. Not necessarily cursed, but well, it's still in there too. But regardless, I think it adds enough like degrees of intrigue and trying to find ways to manage those resources properly, that you don't also just need a really annoying mechanic that's just gonna like set you back 2 hours arbitrarily. Like if you want that, sure, but gay.
Ben, what do you think? Do you think you would have had a better time on Survivor?
absolutely not. For me, I like when it comes to this subject specifically, I'm on a different axis than you guys, where you guys are talking about like whether it fits your taste. For me, like it's not like if this is good or bad. This is a matter of like me even tolerating it. It's like a non-starter for me. I would never play this game on Survivor.
Mhm.
I can't even imagine doing it.
Why? Just the
So
saving? Is that it?
Yeah, it's just like it just sounds like it'd be so repetitive.
Yeah, I'm a little
It's like
curious. Like, if
mostly
you,
about needing to go back to save over and over again. Because if I were to play it, I'd be super safe. So I'd be going back up to the apartment constantly just to save
right?
after I get the danger tick up, and that would just
Yeah.
be like the majority of my gameplay.
I don't. I mean, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but like my experience was like, honestly, I didn't die a whole lot. There were like bosses where I would die, but I wouldn't just like die to random shitters like along the way. Like the game is pretty generous with like not killing you, like how bleeding and poison and stuff just like set you to 1 HP and just dodge enemies all the way back to the elevator or whatever. But uh I didn't really find myself even having to or just going back to the apartment like very often. Like most of the time I went back it was because my danger meter had filled up and the fucking annoying ass one shot enemies were spawning all the time.
Mhm.
Did you feel challenged by the gameplay at least on Survivor?
In certain places, yeah, but like I said, it was one of two things. It was either I simply couldn't pass a stat check on a super boss like the furnace, like that I was just 0% to beat that when I unlocked it. It was mathematically impossible. Um, which that's just JRPG shit. But the real difficulty in this game was definitely managing your resources because like you really do need to like make sure to get keys and loot every room and craft a shit ton of acid flasks to make sure that you have enough to kill a boss because acid flasks are like the easy mode way of dealing with combat.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what you really miss out on an Explorer, because Explorer is kind of just like I don't even know, like a really easy JRPG kind of thing. Especially once you
Yeah.
get once you get even like a second party member, it just becomes pretty trivial, and you definitely miss out on the cool like. Because I was kind of playing the game with like a Funger mindset of like save everything, you don't know when you're going to need it, resources are going to be scarce, but then Explorer doesn't really give that experience to the level that I thought it was going to.
Yeah, like when I was playing, like at the start, like I was actually pretty fucking challenged for at least the first quarter or so of the game. Like when you only have Sam, you don't have another party member. It's like, okay, I need another party member. This is not possible. And you get two, and it's like, okay, this is hard, but it's doable. You get a third, and it's like, okay, I'm starting to feel it. Like I'm draining my resources, but like I can fight stuff. And then you get to four, and it's like, okay, I'm just gonna hold the confirm button on the
Yeah.
final boss because like everything else is just gonna make it go a little quicker. Like, okay, I guess I'll press some AOE spells, but yeah, I have very mixed feelings on this part. Like, I was kind of glad that it started to get easier towards the end because for me at least, uh like with turn-based games of this ilk, like it was the same in Expedition 33. I want to be powerful by the end. Maybe I've just played too much Final Fantasy 8, but I just kind of get drained of turn-based combat by the end of most of those games, even if they're really good, even if the combat itself is really good, like it is in Expedition 33. It's kind of just a time sink at a certain point for me. Like, you know, you fight Simon in Expedition 33, and it's like, okay, he has like 500 billion HP. I know I can perfect parry his attacks, but it's still going to take fucking ages. And that's why I was kind of glad that this game let me turn off that mental stack, but it also has the options to make it more difficult if you want to. And that was an aspect that I liked about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong. Like I didn't think the game was like super hard in any sort of traditional JRPG sense. Like I think kind of like you, the majority of my struggle was front loaded in the first maybe quarter of the game, which was not helped by the fact that it took me a really, really long time to get a fourth party member. It took me a really long time to get. I didn't get a fourth party member until I completely finished the photograph and recruited Lyle, which is not a short thing.
I don't even know who Lyle is.
The guy who develops the photograph for you.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know he was a party member.
That's the
But there,
that's this
there's a
game.
lot of those.
Yeah, there's a shit ton. But yeah, once I got four party members, it was pretty much smooth sailing all the way until like the end game when I just got my ass kicked by some super bosses. But like there were definitely moments where I had to like really like watch it. Like I had to avoid combat or else I would have seen a game over screen. But by and large, I really didn't like game over that many times outside of the scripted stuff.
Yeah, so I feel like we've kind of set the stage for the difficulty aspects of it. I think what I want to kind of get into, if you guys want, is just like general systems talk of this game. Systems meaning like the functionality of combat, the way different companions play, the crafting mechanic. I know Jordan wanted to talk about that one, especially the like kind of time gate system. It's like kind of time gated, kind of time limit. I kind of want to just have a general discussion on all of those like gameplay aspects before we dig too deep on the character and reactivity and stuff like that, because I think that's going to be a very long discussion. So let's just try to get the gameplay stuff out of the way first.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess with the crafting system, like, I don't think the system's that bad. I think how long it takes to interact with it is the real problem. Because I think if it was like fast and you could create like multiple things at one time, I don't know if that's a thing, but as far as I could tell, it's not. You can create one at a time, which is terrible. And like it takes so many clicks to get through things. It's like 20 seconds per item craft. It's insane. So I think if it was fast, it wouldn't be as bad. But I also just don't like to have to basically pull up a wiki and like, 'cause I don't want to do like these first time crafts and then like, oh, actually didn't want that. I'd rather use this resource for something else, and saving anywhere isn't a problem to deal with that. But I just don't think it's that great a design overall.
But I'm kind of curious where you lie on the crafting system. It feels like something that's very anti-Ben to me, but I'm not sure.
It's something I didn't really interact with too much. Basically, I tried a couple to learn some recipes, and when I saw the one that said like craft 6 bandages, that's the only one I use. And I think it sounds like it's a different story if you played on Survivors. It sounds like from
Yeah.
Thomas's experience, you want to like make a ton of like acid flasks and stuff. For me on Explorer, and I still found it challenging in the sense that like I've never really ever challenged on a like a resource kind of axis in most games because I generally avoid them. So like even though the game wasn't hard, I still was engaged because I don't normally play games like this. So just having just having the ability to craft bandages really like alleviated that for me and made me feel empowered to actually beat the game, which is what I did.
Nice.
I just leaned on bandages the whole fucking time, and
Oh yeah.
also Molotovs, but really at that difficulty level didn't really matter. I think I played a lot differently than you guys did because I remember in Discord you guys were talking about doing like hundreds of damage, and I don't think I ever did more than 100 damage.
It's my experience. I don't know where Seth was getting 400 crits from, but yeah, between just shooting people with the 8 burst SMG for like 30 a shot, but 8 times, and then hitting for like maybe 120 with the Hell Sword, I didn't do nearly that much damage.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways that you can bust this game open for sure. Like, there's a surprising amount of like potential build variety, and the more I looked into some of the companions and the unique mechanics they have, I was like, oh, okay, this can actually probably go pretty fucking deep.
Yeah.
I think my
Yeah.
400 crit was just a result of Papineau bear hug. He already had a shitload of health, and the opponent was weak to it. And then I had rage armor, which increases his attack by 50%. But it like makes him berserked at the start of the round or whatever. And I just like funneled as much good gear into him as I could because I thought that seemed cool, and I guess it worked out. And I only got that crit once, so
I wonder what the health difference between Survivor and Explorer is because, God, if I was sitting there just doing 30 damage with my SMG or 120 damage with my Hellsword, I like the final boss has like 3,000 health. It would have taken fucking forever.
unless the wiki just doesn't show it, I think health is the same across all difficulties. But I'm
Huh.
only basing that off of the wiki not changing.
Yeah, because like my go-to was mostly just putting status effects on things and using Octo Strike with Sam, which would hit for like 400 damage every time and was awesome.
Yeah, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Cursed must have more HP because I started a Cursed save, and the first enemy that you have to fight, the guy that like stabs himself in the stomach or whatever, he had like 250 health on Cursed. I think it was
Jesus.
ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Cursed, it's like the attack option probably should just erase it. Like that's probably never the right thing to do. It's either just throw with the
Yeah.
items or use like crazy skills because it just seems like it's too much.
Yeah, Cursed seems fucking insane in the membrane.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, even Explorer to Survivor, like I played the first maybe 35, 40 minutes of the game on Survivor, and then when I went to Explorer, like enemies were missing me like crazy. The encounters were doing like a third of the damage. Like it's so much easier from one to the other. So I can only imagine Survivor to Curse is probably like even worse.
Interesting.
I think there's also more enemies too, because I started that cursed run. I don't remember if there's any enemies before that first guy you have to fight that stabs himself. I just can't remember. But when I started Cursed, there were 4 enemies in that first main hallway on floor
Jesus
3.
Christ.
I go into the next room. There's 2 more dudes in there. I go to the like bedroom on the left, not where the guy is, but there's like fucking 4 enemies in there. I'm like, I don't even have a weapon yet.
You know, I'm pretty sure there's no enemies, and then you get the bat, right? Because you can't even go into that room without like getting the bat or like some weapon and then equipping it. So that sounds like a completely different experience.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
it's fucked up.
But yeah, I actually think I think the mechanics of the combat itself are kind of like bland, generic, whatever sort of stuff. Like there isn't really anything that's too exciting within the actual like combat screen. But I do think all the outside of combat stuff is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Like the way that you have to, because there really is. There's a lot of build variety that you can do with Sam. Like I've seen a lot of YouTube videos where people will just like turn him into like a healer support. He's capable of soloing the game by himself on Cursed, doing like a genocide run and killing every NPC that you come into contact with. Like it's pretty crazy just how many different things you can do with Sam, and I think that that is mostly in part to how they did the skill system with the video games, which I think is actually pretty fucking cool. Like you basically have to pay some amount of like game time duration towards the 15-day limit in order to unlock skills, and I don't know, that's pretty novel. I think it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me kind of, I don't know, like I have like a, I don't know how I feel about it completely because I basically never learned any skills because I never played any video games to completion. But even without any of the skills being learned, like I still was able to make my main character into like a support role where I think I don't know if this was the case with everyone, but like there was a weapon called the Rat Tail Whip, which you get pretty early on, and it doesn't do much damage, but the auto attack on it hits AOE and sometimes procs sickness, and the main reason why I kept it throughout the whole game is because the entire game it never once degraded in durability ever. So I just thought
Huh.
it was the most valuable
Huh.
thing. I don't know if it was bugged, but I liked that it existed.
I don't
That's
know if
dope.
it's true for that weapon, but I know some weapons like regenerate over time. Like I got this moss hammer that just regenerated. But yeah, I think what you're saying with build variety, like you can definitely do it with Sam, but I think there's a lot of companions you can do it too. Like Audrey. I think Audrey is a fucking
Yeah,
awesome
true.
companion. Like she's like kind of a really weird mix of a red mage because you like find equipment from certain enemies that you kill, and she's completely modifiable based on like what equipment that you have on her because it gives her different skills. I ended up running mine as just like a support because I used the refreshment skill and it like half heals your entire party and it was sick. But like I looked at some of the other ones and I was like, wow, she could be kind of a blaster if I wanted her to be. And I think that's
Yeah.
true for a lot of the companions. Like I said, I started looking them up. There's the Roach's companion you can get, and he has this like unique mechanic where he puts like roach swarms on targets and then does more damage to those targets based on the number of roach swarms on them. I looked up Felipe's skills because you can actually get him as a fully grown companion. Literally, that's a joke. And he has this move where he like consumes a dead party member to like amp himself up and shit. It's like that. Like, there's a lot of shit in here. I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Like, um, that's what I was kind of saying is because even though I think most of the character, like the actual mechanics of the like combat itself, are a little kind of generic. It's like all of the ways that the characters are designed, both for combat and visually, and their personalities are all so fucking good. Like every companion is so like incredibly unique and endearing in some goofy ass way. And I think Audrey is a great example of that. Like, not only was she like the best companion pretty much as soon as I found her, because I found her right after I killed. I found her and then I went and killed. I killed the dude in the landlord's apartment. So like she immediately got this like badass like ballistics gun and was just straight overpowered for like a long ass time. But also like when she's in your apartment, you get all these like cool like companion to companion dialogue sequences, like with her talking to Sophie through fucking cans that she has to vend out. Like so many of the characters are just fucking awesome, both in and out of combat, and they did a really fucking good job designing every one of them.
You guys speak so fondly of these party members that like I have no idea who they are, but it sounds like I missed out on stuff like
Oh yeah.
Aubrey, because like the only companions I found were Ernest, the homeless guy who I love because he calls everyone a Fed, and Papino, who I found in a bathroom. And literally, I played through the entire game with just those two guys because I didn't find any of their companions except for Felipe, who betrayed me 5 minutes after I recruited him, so he died. So I went back down to 3 party members, and that's just how I beat the game. Those are the
Yeah.
only characters that I found.
Yeah, I mean the companions in this game are like pretty goddamn hidden, even by
Mhm.
like CRPG standards. I think like Felipe, for example, I mentioned you can make him a fully recruitable companion, not just like in the fungal area. You have to do a specific line of dialogue where it's like you are convinced that the spores are messing with your mind and that he is your friend and the spores are infecting him. So you have to kill him in that encounter with the spore mother, take his remains back to your apartment, grow him in your planter, and then he eventually fully grows after a couple days, and the dialogue with him is like him asking, "Why did you save me? I tried to kill you." And you're like, "Well, we're best buddies." You're like, "What are you talking about? I tried to kill you. Once you realize that I'm not actually trying to help you, then you'll oh oh yeah, we're best buddies." It's like it's just this super endearing thing of like this character that hates you and wants to kill you and wants to die, but like has to help you. It's really funny. They're all very unique.
Yeah, and I do wish I found more of the party members because like even the ones that I got like Ernest, like it was kind of there was like one really heartwarming moment where I cooked food in the apartment and he thanked me. He was like, "I never get to eat food ever because I'm fucking homeless, so thanks,
Yeah.
man."
Yeah, I think the reason why you didn't really get a lot of them because a lot of them are tied to like the door events, and you get that
Yeah.
from like playing the
Yep.
games or doing the crossword. And it sounds like you didn't do that at all.
Yeah, I was
Oh
gonna
no, hell
say,
no.
if you didn't do any door events, your odds of getting extra companions are really low. I think that's
Yeah.
where I found 6, maybe 7, and I think 4 of them just came from random door events.
Yeah, like every time I had a door event, it was always like a vendor or it was the clown and he freaked me out and that was about it.
Dude, those
Dude.
vendors, if you were playing on Survivor, those vendors are fucking godlike. Holy shit, they're so useful.
Yeah, I think one of the like main things with the companions too, at least with the door events, is I'm pretty sure a large chunk of them will only show up if you don't like if your party isn't full. Like there's the tag team, I think they're like boyfriend and girlfriend that will only show up if you have exactly 2 party members. Then there's like a bunch like that where they just won't come if you have a full party.
Yeah, like I didn't get Papinel until almost the end of the game because I didn't find him until what is it? When you get the janitor's key.
Yeah.
Right.
Since Ben mentioned Pierre, I mean, I saw this in a Steam review of this guy being like really pissed about the fact that that like they did Pierre dirty. I've like never seen someone like publicly defend clowns before, so I just thought that it was funny. The guy played the whole game and was like, "Oh, this guy doesn't like Pierre. This game sucks."
That's pretty fucking funny, honestly.
Out of all of the things to take
Yeah.
umbrage with this game.
I mean, I was kind of pissed too. I was like, "Why can't I be friends with Pierre? This guy's the shit." And like, so I thought it was annoying that Sam was a little bitch and was afraid of clowns, but not to that level.
So how does that plot thread resolve? Because like there's a few things that I just like either forgot about or didn't follow up on, and that was one of them. Like I never went back to their apartment.
Yeah, I don't remember specifics, but I know that like he is a big old monster. When he says that he's like hiding his true form, he is not lying. He is a
Yeah,
he's
he
a
tries
big spooky dude.
Yeah, he tries to do exposure therapy on you and I don't think it works. And then you kind of just say like see you later buddy and never see him again and then you get an achievement.
Yeah, that's him.
Holy shit! Well, the art is fucking dope as hell.
Yeah.
Which can also be said of basically every sprite
Yeah,
in this game, which
everything
is
easily.
insane. It's insane how many sprites there are in this game. There
Yep.
are so
Yeah.
many.
Dude,
Even
the fact that you
down-
kill Lewis and then you fight Lewis's bottom half in the hallway and you go back in the apartment and then you fight his top half is like, what the fuck, man?
yeah.
Stop drawing shit. It was just so much.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even down to the fucking the ending slides. Like this game had more effort put into its ending than Baldur's Gate 3 did on release, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, for sure.
The comparisons I was making in spoilers was
Yeah.
to Tides of Numenera because
Oh, that's
it's like not
hilarious.
even
Yes.
close.
Yeah.
That's so true. But yeah, dude. It was what's his name? Frankie Coulomb or whatever. He did the art, right?
Yeah.
He did like
I mean,
almost
not all of
everything.
it. A lot of people helped him, but I don't know to what extent. But yeah,
Mhm.
he did the majority of it.
Yeah, that guy is fucking ass cracked. Is what he is.
I
Yeah,
also
it's
really
like-
like how he has two different styles depending on if it's like a close up in combat or if it's in like
Mhm.
the RPG Maker world where it just looks super RPG
Mhm.
Maker.
Yeah.
But then he like zooms into like these creatures in the dialogue and combat modes, and he's just going off with this art.
Yeah,
it's great.
like just look at like one of the very first enemies you can fight in the game. I think they're just called onlookers, the like gaunt like kind of gray fellas that look like zombies. Like they have one sprite in the overworld, then they have another sprite when you get in combat when they're like far away, and then there's like two more sprites for them walking up to you, and then like 4 or 5 more sprites for as they like slowly open up their stomach and there's a giant eyeball in there. That's like 10 sprites for one enemy, and there's like are there hundreds of enemies in this game? Probably not hundreds, but it's close to 100.
I feel like it's hundreds because fucking the only two encounters that are the same are those onlookers that you mentioned. Everything else is a unique encounter, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even like the ticks that you fight in the sewers, even all of those aren't the same sprite.
Yeah.
It's different ones.
It's so stupid. It's kind of like a philosophy, kind of like a philosophy of the guys who made Void Stranger, which is just like you want like the world to be like reactive and different whenever like you do something. So like taking that to the extreme is every time you get in combat, it's something different, which is crazy for a JRPG. Like absolutely insane.
Yeah, I think for a game that like has such humble beginnings, like, you know, you're just this unemployed dude and your neighbor is making fun of you for it, like, oh, you're that unemployed guy, right? Like the scope this game set itself from like a system and art point of view is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like regardless
100%.
of whether or not he succeeded, just starting with the idea of, yeah, I want like 10 different sprites for every enemy is crazy.
So, do you guys know? Because I know that I guess is probably important to mention that we played this game, what, maybe a month, 2 months after version 2.0 came out. And it sounds like they have added a lot of shit to this game. But when did it first get released in like early access? I know it was released as a game jam, but like when was it put on Steam originally?
I don't think it was early access, was it?
I didn't hear anything about early access. The earliest date that I saw was February something of 2025.
Oh fuck! So it's not even been out a year.
Yep.
Oh
They
my
added all of
God.
that from like when I think it's February or March. It's one of those 2 months until like November. So it took them like 7 months, and they added a bunch of shit. Like the
That's
Saturn
crazy.
disc didn't even have a use in 1.0. Like the promise ending, and I don't think Unity was there. There was a lot of shit that wasn't there ending wise.
Yeah,
And,
dude, that's fucking insane. Because I found myself as I was like kind of reading and researching a little bit about this game, that like I really had to pay attention to when something was posted. Because if it was like an 8-month-old post, it's like, oh, they like didn't even play the same fucking game that I did.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that fucking short of a time span.
Yeah, and that's one of the questions I wrote down where like we're playing this game, like I'm sure it was great on release still, but there's been a lot of polish put into this game and a lot more assets than the 1.0 version. Like again, consider like most of your favorite songs from this soundtrack, most of those were not in the 1.0 release. And so the question I kind of wanted to ask you guys is, do you think that's fair to consider for your rating where like we're like per our experience, like we had a pretty goddamn good experience, but when like your favorite parts of the game were something that were only added a year later, like, does that change how you would view a game? It's kind of like the No Man's Sky argument, right? Like,
For me,
where's the line for that?
I don't know. For me, it's just clearly whatever I experience
Yeah.
personally.
Yeah, because I feel like if you start doing that, then you almost have to like rate on like potential. Like if I played a game and I was like, man, if they had a few more patches, this would be an 8 out of 10. So I'm gonna rate it an 8 out of 10 instead of a 5 or whatever.
Yeah, I'm with Ben of like acknowledging that like games are different is one thing, but like yeah, I only had the experience that I had experienced. So like maybe if I played it on 1.0, maybe I wouldn't like it nearly as much, right? And maybe I would never go back to it just because usually trying to unearth games like this one might be an exception because it might be compelling enough, but you just don't, right? Like I still haven't finished One Shot and I think that game's fucking awesome, but because it was like a staggered like ending release time, that game came out like 10 years ago and I still haven't fucking finished it. So it just depends. But I think whatever
Yeah.
experience I have is what I'll rate it with.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think like the only way that I could think to approach it myself is like I would never rate the 1.0 version of this game because I don't know what that experience was like. But if I did play the 1.0 and then I played it again a year later, like now, then I would just have like two different ratings,
Oh, yeah.
basically.
Without a doubt,
But
I know for sure I would have liked this game less at 1.0, especially because like it was basically unfinished. Like there was
Yeah.
the Saturn disc didn't do anything, but you could get it. Like I
Right.
think that's
Yeah.
super fucking weird.
I mean, I'll go as far to say as like I don't even know if I would have liked this game on 1.0. Like so many of like the loops that get closed in this game like recontextualize everything so fucking hard that it makes them into like much stronger narratives than they would be without it.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, it does really make me wonder what the 1.0 experience is like not having the Unity ending where it answers a very big question about the game. I don't know, but that's interesting though because it goes into the like Lovecraft thing of like fear of the unknown. Like maybe you're not supposed to know what the visitor is up to. But all of that aside, I had this on my mind the entire time. This game was $10 on Steam. Did I get it on sale or was it just $10?
I think it's just $10.
I think this is one of the best value propositions on Steam ever made. This is like a Hollow Knight for me. It's insane to
Holy
me.
shit. I had to go back and double check if that was true. That's insane.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely absurd.
to me, it's analogous to Fear and Hunger because it's like the same thing in like scale. Fear and Hunger is like the same thing. It's like $8, but it has like Fear and Hunger. I think has like 30 endings or something absurd compared to this game. So for some reason, these fucking lunatics who release these crazy RPG Maker games just wants to be like, hey, you don't have to pay that much for it either, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I guess for them it's just like you don't need a lot of tools to make a game like this, right? You just need, the time in your schedule to do it. And I don't know. I guess Francis had the time to do it because he fucking put the work in. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I
personally,
think it's also probably like difficult to convince someone to buy like a $20+ like RPG Maker looking game. Like think about how many RPG Maker games are on Steam and how many of them would you take one look at $10 and be like, nah, fuck that. Like it
Almost
might
all
have
of
even
them.
happened with this game.
They have to be like really exceptional looking, or like hide that they're a RPG Maker game. Kind of like this game hides it pretty well, and One Shot hid it really well. So yeah, they need to be that cheap, but also like it's crazy to experience games that are that cheap and give you that much behind them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and I think this game also, like I said, it almost to a fault, almost it opens really strongly. Like I said, I think two of the maybe three animations in the entire game are right at the start of the game, looking
Yeah.
outside the window and the first combat with the stabby guy. And yeah, like it is an RPG Maker game, but like you said, it does a pretty good job hiding it.
I actually
Yeah,
just
for
love
sure.
that this game exists because, like, I think I'm different than you guys, where you guys have probably played a ton of these RPG Maker looking games, and like I pretty much never ever play them, ever. They just don't appeal to me at all. Like, look, even a game like this, I would never buy of my own volition unless you guys made me through Tash. But like, yeah, like I just love that this game exists
Oh.
and was made with RPG Maker because I've always like in the game dev community, I'm so annoyed of people that are so judgmental about engines. Like you should be learning Unreal Engine because it's like the most marketable. It's like the easiest way to get a job. It's just like that's such primitive thinking. Like if you have the creative vision in your head that you know is just gonna be fucking dope like this game. Like I there's no doubt in my mind that the guys that made this game did not think that this game was not going to be a hit. Like it was just guaranteed because like the idea and the execution is just so
Mhm.
good that all they needed was just a tool that just lets them create the game that's in their head. And
Yep.
for the scope that they came up with, they did it with RPG Maker, and that's really all that matters.
Exactly.
100% agreed.
Sorry if that was like a huge tangent. I
No.
forgot what we were talking about
No, not at all.
originally.
No,
I
was-
mean you're completely right. Like there's
Yeah.
a lot of super good like undeniable games are made either in Game Maker Studio, which is another like super simple engine, or RPG Maker, right? Like Amori's another one. Amori's fucking huge. Undertale's fucking huge. Like there's these games that don't need to use these crazy engines, but can still deliver what the creator's idea is like flawlessly.
Yeah, I mean, it's a difference between someone who wants to learn something to get a job versus someone who wants to make something that is like gonna appeal to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like they knew that this game was going to be timeless. Like you can just tell just by looking at the sprite work and the way that the story unfolds, and like it's just a different mindset than someone that's just a game developer for the purpose of like making a living.
So I think like here's my like gut reaction take. Like things like Look Outside are made by artists. People who shout at you to go learn Unreal Engine so that you can go work for Naughty Dog or whatever are programmers, like by and
Yeah.
large.
Yeah, for sure.
I just got like totally stun locked for a minute because I opened the store page and the spider that you find in the sewers flashed on the screen, and I just remember that I forgot to go back to him after turning in all the kids.
Oh yeah, I didn't even get all the kids.
I did.
Oh, I think I got all the kids, but I forgot to go back to him. Like, period. I kind of just forgot.
You,
And
you
and
get
I was
so
actually
lost in the sewers.
Yeah.
yeah, and I was like actually kind of invested because that was the one with the kid that was literally Dark Side Phil
Yeah.
that failed on the crouch jump. I fucking love that. And that's why I was invested, and I feel bad not checking up on him.
Well, so I did, and I'll be honest, you guys really didn't miss out on a whole lot. He gave me like 3 stimulants and said thanks, and that was the end of the quest.
Damn, that's
Oh.
lame.
That's too bad. I was hoping it was going to be like a Hollow Knight situation with the worms that you find, and he like fucking eats all the kids that you send him or something.
Yeah, I actually totally forgot to bring that up in the Discord chat because I was gonna remark on how that was kind of a disappointing ending, but the actual quest itself was enjoyable, I thought
Yeah.
anyway.
See, that's why I kind of say this game is like grotesque but not gross, because I don't feel like it ever really does any kind of like fuck yous like that. Like I can't really think of any.
I mean, so this game's crazy though because like even though yes, like visually it's obviously grotesque, the circumstances surrounding the plot are like grim. Everyone who is like a person is like extremely optimistic and kind. So it's like even though this lady is turning into a fucking like apartment floor spanning hydra and she can't control it from killing her neighbors, like all she wants you to do is go grab her fucking fresh laundry.
Yeah, I think the definition of that you're getting at, Thomas, is when you get to the roof, there's like portions of a very large creature that you walk under, like the kind of purple and yellow worm-like creature that's up there. There's like portions of it that are curved and you walk under it and such. That is a character you can talk to. He's like under the entire apartment complex, like occupying the fucking foundation of the entire building, and he is literally the nicest guy you've ever met.
Yeah.
You fall down onto him, and he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Are you okay?" And he's just this like giant mass of flesh. So yeah, you're right. There's a lot of humanity in this game, despite the grotesquerie.
I didn't realize that was Gaston or whatever that guy's name is.
I didn't either. That's funny.
Oh yeah.
But it makes sense. But yeah, no, that guy's awesome. Like you said, he's just like the nicest thing ever. And that's what I think is that's what like in a game that feels like it should just have fuck yous everywhere. I didn't feel like there was that many fuck yous.
Yeah, like it goes back to something Seth said earlier that I kind of wanted to comment on. Oh fuck, what did you say? It was while we were like discussing the intro. God damn it. What the hell was it?
Seth, say everything that you said again so Tom can remember.
Yeah, say everything.
Yes, everything.
I talked about how there's like a billion pixel sprites for the first enemy.
I got it.
I did it.
All right, I got it. I got it. It came back to me. So
Don't lose it.
you were talking about how there's like a lot of instances in this game where like when the game tells you what to do, like it's going to end badly, right? Like you shouldn't look out the window. You shouldn't look through like you should do what the game tells you to do. And I think that that's actually like a pretty core theme of this game is like this bizarre sense of optimism in the face of fucking total annihilation where it's like even though the world is ending around you, it's not because of some evil force. Like there's no malevolence behind what the fuck is going on. It's just uh basically the entropy of the universe taking shape and wanting you to merge and move to a lower energy state with this fucking cosmic entity. So I think that like all of the majority anyway of the characters that you run into just being these like nice optimistic people who seem really at odds with the world around them is like it's a really interesting way to mirror what the fuck you're actually seeing with your eyes.
Yeah, I mean it's like what was I about to say? It's like I was saying earlier where like you're just playing this fucking unemployed schmuck that just stays home and plays video games all day, like most of us, but it's all like extrapolated out to this crazy cosmic scale and suddenly you're literally the most important person on the planet Earth. But yeah, like I don't think any of that would work if it didn't ground it with like kind characters that you actually kind of care about.
Yeah.
Like I feel like one of the purposes that Francis had with this game had to be something like making you care about these like grotesque creations that he's spending all this time on making pixel art for. It honestly reminds me a lot of Toby Fox with Undertale. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he had kind of a similar goal of creating these inhuman creatures that are almost more human than humans.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I know you guys aren't like big movie guys, but someone out there probably is. And if you had to give me like 4 words to describe this game to somebody, I think I would say coziest Cronenberg movie ever. And it makes a lot of sense in my head.
So kind of related to this, and tell me if you guys feel like we've answered this, but I got this feeling about halfway through the game where I felt like all of the horror was being kind of supplanted with comedy and lightheartedness. And that might be an overstatement, but I kind of just want to get your guys' vibes on that statement. Like, did you feel that pivot shift, and did it work for you?
For me, I felt it like all the way from the very beginning to the end, and I thought it was that way by design, and I liked it. Because like, I know that we've been talking about like how much it is, how much you can care for like a lot of these characters that you should be sympathetic towards because their life is super fucked up right now. But like the way that like every NPC you interact with, the way that you interact with them is that you talk to them, and it goes to a combat screen, and you get dialogue choices, and each one is also followed by the options to talk and also to attack them. So to me, like from the jump, I just felt like every NPC was kind of expendable in that way. So like even emotionally they're expendable, and that's why like when I look at the stuff that happens in all the endings where it, like gets into like some crazy shit, like I don't care too much about the NPCs. I'm more curious about just like where they end up in like the crazy extrapolation of every ending. But like I don't care about them too much personally, like as individuals. I don't know if that's like heartless
Yeah.
for me to say.
I mean, it makes sense. I don't think this game is so necessarily about like character building as it is about like world building.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I guess it's just different for me because I'm thinking of like some like Undertale where I did
Oh yeah,
find myself caring a lot about the characters, but in this one I just don't, and I don't even think that that's a bad thing.
yeah. I don't think this game's trying to get you to fail or to care about the characters like that much.
Yeah, I think if it was trying to get you to care about every character as much as you might care about, like, I don't know, Papyrus from Undertale, then I think for better or worse, the bad endings, which is almost all of them, would feel significantly worse. I'm not making a quality judgment by saying worse. I'm just saying like you would get a much more severe pit in your stomach. Watching the entire planet go to shit and like all of these characters die. But yeah, I don't know if that I would call that like a bad thing or a good thing. It kind of strikes a weird middle ground by humanizing them like that.
I think it comes out fine because it's like I kind of like that for someone like me that's like pussified. That I don't want to deal with too much like horror shit. I like that it kind of trends
Yeah.
towards like the comedy side of that like tragedy comedy spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think this game is like overtly funny either. It's kind of like quirky in the way that like Earthbound kind of is, but it's not. I don't know.
I mean,
I
it's
can't-
not. I wouldn't describe it as like laugh out loud funny, but it's definitely like humorous for sure.
Yeah, it does like quirky, funny things, but it's not like cracking jokes. It's like funny situations or funny things that it presents to you versus writes a joke.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that I think the reason why a lot of people would probably find the like horror, like body horror, like nastiness of this game to be pretty tolerable is because like the games uses that as a foil for like all of the positive messaging that's actually in this game. So it's like
Right.
even though again all this horrible shit's happening, it's like it's telling you like, hey, maybe you should like hang out with your neighbor, or like it's just describing life in a very like proactively positive way, even though what you're looking at is like a person made of teeth.
Yeah.
I think in a weird way, it's almost like it's like trying to get you to look past the surface level of these things, because I think as in like looking past the surface level of a person to see who they really are is kind of what I mean. And I think the reason I say that is because like you guys, I was pretty fucking shocked to find out how many companions there are in this game and how many that I had just absent-mindedly killed, not even coming close to assuming that they were potential companions. Like the one that comes to mind immediately is Joel, the teeth guy. I was fucking flabbergasted that he was a companion because everything about him is like presented as just being another monster to kill.
Mhm.
And I think it's kind of what you're getting at, where like there's so much humanity in the game, but it tries to obscure it from you to get you to look past the surface level of what's like really happening.
Yeah, I think kind of like what Ben said too, where like everything you walk up to starts like an encounter is like a very interesting design decision.
Oh, it's like super wizardry. Like that's how all those old school games are.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not only just as an encounter, but like having the attack option and stuff adds a
Yeah.
certain layer of like not knowing who you should trust almost.
Yeah. And I think it's cool to just like walk up to an NPC and be like, "Ah, fuck, this guy was a bad guy," or the opposite, be like, "Oh, fuck, I can talk to this guy," and it's not like your traditional like if you talk to him on the overworld or you go into a battle screen. So I don't know. I think it just creates like a cool little like dynamic from jump.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the perfect example of this, especially because it's presented so early, is the Frederick quest line. It's a subversion of the imposter among us trope, right? Instead of one of the 9 or however many there are being the bad one, all of them are bad except for one, and you have to figure out which one it is. And I thought that was a very, very nice twist on a common trope.
So I didn't finish that one. Can you actually kill the one that gets inside your head? Is there like a way to fuck that guy up, or do you just have to not let him get inside your head?
Get inside your head. Are you talking about Toxic Fred, the green one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because he's the hat, you must have equipped the hat.
Oh, he's the hat. I never knew that. That makes a lot of sense. Oh, that's fucking dope.
I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, I kind of metagamed it a little bit because like when I was googling solutions for a puzzle, I saw that like the last Frederick you keep alive was relevant, so I kind of just min-maxed it, and I got the one that gives you like a curaga once a day.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was
That's crazy.
What? That would have been so nice.
That's crazy.
All of them are great. Like all of the rewards are really good. Like I said, I got the rage armor. It increased my Papineau's attack by 50%.
Yeah, that's
What
crazy.
the fuck?
I didn't even finish that. I just killed the faceless guy and gave the faceless guy his face back, and then like I left a couple of them alive because I didn't want to kill the one that healed you, and I didn't want to kill the one that was faking to be God, just because I thought that they were really funny.
The guy that heals you is the guy that I was talking about, and I did give that guy his face back, and then I killed him.
So, dialing it back to some of the game mechanics a little bit. Jordan had a question here I was curious about your guys' take on, which is, how did you feel about the weapons having attacks tied to them?
You mean like different skills that they could use depending if it was like piercing or slashing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's super wizardry coded. Like the entire time I was playing this game, I wish that I could choose Wizardry 7 for Tash because it's basically it feels like playing this game, except that it takes 70 hours to beat that game with a walkthrough. So,
Jesus
but like
Christ.
it's literally yeah, like in that game, it was basically the same thing where like if you equip a broadsword, then you get like a horizontal slash or like a like kind of like a piercing thrust, or if you have a spear, then you only have a piercing thrust, but it's got range and stuff like that. Like every weapon, it's kind of like how Dark Souls has different like weapon like abilities, or depending on like the
Yeah.
sets, and yeah, like all that is just it all dates back to wizardry. Like that's just the origin of like all those types of mechanics.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I was gonna make the same comparison to Dark Souls, like especially with the weapon arts in Dark Souls 3 is when it started with that. I would have to look at more weapons to really be sure, but I feel like a lot of them kind of did the same thing. Or like had the same idea where it's like one that's a hard attack and it has a higher chance to break your weapon. One is an even harder attack that has like a status effect tied to it, but is like super high chance to break your weapon. And I never remembered seeing like I kill the furnace, I get the weapon from it that's like super sick. I don't remember seeing like a really cool special ability that you get from weapons like that, but I could be wrong. And the only reason I bring that up is because I feel like it didn't quite deliver as I would expect in the way I'm describing. If it didn't do that.
Yeah, kind of like what Seth said is why I asked the question, because like I thought it was a cool idea, but there wasn't anything cool done with it. And the fact that it came from wizardry, it seems like this game is like extremely wizardry coded, like in a lot of aspects. So I think it's kind of like a little bit disappointing now to know that it wasn't like a novel system.
I think it's kind of a damned if you do.
I like that it's there because like it just shows me that where they got references from creatively is just like very, very broad.
Yeah.
It kind of feels like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation with like giving really a like outlying cool abilities, because number one, the weapon can just fucking break and now you don't have that super cool weapon ability anymore. And number two, maybe you like get to a really hard boss and it resists your like favorite weapon and like your favorite special ability you can't use anymore, and those would be kind of bad feelings. It would probably be worth it, but if we're talking about like limited development time, I can understand not wanting to do that for those reasons.
Yeah, and I was kind of asking because, like, to me, they felt like it's definitely not. It's a system I've seen before in other games for sure, and I was curious because, like, I felt like they were so kind of milquetoast in this game. Like, once I had characters that had skills, like, I honestly just sometimes forgot that weapons even had skills.
I didn't even use them. I didn't like the downside of like the higher chance of breaking your weapon. It didn't feel like it was worth it. Like ever.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say the caveat to that though is the ranged weapons. Like the ranged weapons, you use those skills every fucking time.
Yeah, the SMG ranged weapon where you shoot 8 bullets is fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's I was saying I was using Octo Strike as an ability, and that's literally just what Octo Strike does. It just attacks 8 times.
Mm-hmm. And that's why I like the shotgun so much. I think I might have been, or maybe Ben said you got the shotgun too.
Yeah, I use the shotgun. I used every gun.
Yeah, it had a special ability where it shoots 3 shots at every enemy, so you could get like a maximum of what, like 12 or 15 or something.
That's dope.
Yeah, in general, I feel like slightly undercooked, but I don't hate it because of the durability system. Any issues that I have with weapons would be more relegated to the durability system, I think.
Yeah, I can see that, but like I actually kind of like the blandness of the weapon system.
Yeah,
I don't know why. It just feels right because I feel like if it was overly complicated, it would kind of sour me on top of like the already large difficulty relative to like other games that like normies play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think that's totally fair, and that's probably even like a design consideration, right? I'm sure at some point some of them had to get scaled back just because they didn't want to overwhelm the player, and I imagine from balance it was probably a nightmare too.
Yeah, for sure.
Why didn't you like the durability system, Seth?
I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it, to be clear. It's just that like whatever issues I have with the weapons is relegated to that because like it's like the Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom thing. It really sucks to get like a super sick weapon and like the furnace weapon, and then slowly that like every second that you use it is one less second that you're going to have with a really cool weapon. In a lot of ways, duct tape fixed that, but you can't duct tape every weapon, and also you have to if your equipped weapon is chipped or broken, then you have to unequip it, duct tape, then re-equip it,
Oh
which
yeah,
was really annoying.
that was
stupid.
annoying.
Yeah.
That's RPG Maker, I'm sure. I'm sure for some reason that was a technical limitation.
Yeah, there were some like very minor UI UX stuff that was really annoying in this game. But before we deviate on that path, to me anyway, I thought like I obviously hate these weapon durability mechanics. Like
Yeah.
it's why I can't play Breath of the Wild, and I think it's a 2 out of 10 game. But as soon as I discovered, well, I think it's two things. So number one, you found so many weapons in this game that it didn't really feel like I was being punished too hard because my sledgehammer broke. Who gives a shit? I've got 2 more. And then once you start finding actual like unique quote unquote weapons, and it's like, well, shit, like if this breaks, it sucks. But that's around the exact same time that the game starts giving you duct tape, and I never ever even came close to running out of duct tape. I think I finished the game with like probably 10.
Same.
And I never really felt like I was too limited by the repair mechanic. And yeah, like and you said there's weapons you can't repair with them, but in my experience, the only weapon I couldn't repair with it was the mossy hammer, which like repairs itself, so it wasn't even a big deal.
I thought you couldn't repair the furnace hammer, or maybe you could repair it, but you couldn't get the fire back.
I did not kill the furnace because it was impossible.
I don't know. I could be making that up because I remember seeing something where someone was like, "It's the only source of unlimited fire damage in the game." So, like, maybe I was doing something wrong, but I couldn't figure out how to duct tape it.
Yeah, I think it's a nice system to be there because it's not a fuck you system like Breath of the Wild, and it kind of gives you like interactivity of like kind of like a scarcity things of like like you typically like you save your elixirs or whatever, but like you need to use that duct tape on the weapons, right, or else they break. And I'm assuming if they break, are they gone? I'm assuming that they just disappear.
Yeah,
right?
I think they
they're
do.
permanent.
Yeah. So it's kind of like giving the player an incentive to use them, and I think it just plays more with the whole like limited resources thing. And I'm sure on the curse mode they probably play with it even to a greater extent of the weapons break quicker, and you have probably less duct tape to deal with. So I think it's a fun outside mechanic to manage without being like a pain in the fuck. Oh, this sucks because my cool weapon broke, because it never really should break. So I actually think it's like a good thing.
Yeah.
Rarely, because
Yeah.
I'm usually with Tom.
I'm actually kind of a big fan of all the friction in this game, which is something I wouldn't normally say. And it would definitely be a disqualifier for me enjoying many other games that do similar things, like Persona games that I really, really hate. But I actually like the things that they do the same in this game, like all the time gating shit. Stuff like that is fine with me in this game because it's 10 hours long. Like when you move those mechanics to like a 50 to 90 hour Persona 5 playthrough, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Exactly.
But this one was like just right, like Goldilocks.
Yep. And no, I completely agree. I think if you're going to do something like this, you need to keep the scope of the game, of a playthrough of a game, underneath 10 hours almost exclusively. Like maybe 20 hours if you're somehow a master, but like with the idea of, because it doesn't feel that bad to start a new playthrough, right? Because it's not like, oh, fuck, like a Baldur's Gate 3 or like one of those behemoth games would be. So you could just be like, oh, I'll just do another one and figure out how I get the fucking soda can as a party member this time or whatever,
Yeah, and I'm normally I'm like 100% with Ben on this one, but I'm normally 100% with you that I can't play Persona games because of the way that like the calendar system in those games work, but it didn't bother me in this game because I'm sure I'm wrong on this, but it didn't seem like there was anything that was like directly like it didn't seem like there were events where it would say something like this only happens on day 5 between the hours of 6 and 12. And that's the type of shit that bugs me because I feel like I'm going to miss content. Whereas this game, it felt like I wasn't being limited in the content that I could see. I was just being limited in the content that I could maybe find. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of that is the way that the game does the actual like time forwarding mechanic because the clock doesn't move forward unless you explore a new room or some shit. I can't remember
Yep.
exactly how it works.
It's the first time you enter a room each day, the time will tick down.
Yeah, and that's a cool system. That's a good way of doing it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I actually think that barring like Majora's Mask, because it's one of my favorite games ever, I think the way this game handles its time mechanic is one of the best ever.
Yeah.
In terms of imposing the friction, but not feeling overly punishing for someone like me that gets like lost and turned
Yeah.
around and has to like go back and forth constantly. Like there was no point where I felt bad for like going in a room I shouldn't have or like doing a combat that I shouldn't have because like every combat like kind of related to this, every combat the thing is permanently dead, like you never have to deal with it
Yep.
again, so you always feel a sense of progression after those combats, which is such a beautiful fucking reprieve from like random combat encounters that just are like tedious and annoying and
Oh, yeah.
just like gates to get to where you want to go. And it's for me, it's the same with exploring new rooms. Like I'm going to go to the basement this run, and like I want to explore around a bit. And now that I've like gone in most of these rooms, I can just run around wherever I want to. I fucking love the time mechanic in this game. And also, sorry, I'm talking for a while, but I also love, and it's kind of related to the inventory system, that it imposes that restriction on you of the time limit, but it gives you so much time to do everything that you want to do. Like I think I ended the game with like 7 days left. Like it imposes a restriction, and that makes things feel meaningful, but it doesn't, or at least for me, it didn't feel like it disincentivized me from like exploring in the way that I described.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I beat the game I think with 4 days left, and I like I never really felt like, oh fuck, I'm gonna run out of time. You know?
Oh, yeah. And I think something that Ben said, I think, and kind of like elaborating on what Seth said, which is like the incentive to do combat in this game is that when you do the combat, you never have to do it again. And I think that that's genius, and like almost no one else has fucking done that like ever.
I can't believe there's no games that have done it. I can't think of any other game that's done that.
Because typically, like when you go back to lower level areas for whatever reason in a game, and then you're getting combat, and you're like, I just gotta run because I get nothing from this fucking fight. Like the 10 gil and 15 experience is not fucking worth it. But the fact that it's just not there because you did it earlier is just like, ta-da!
Yeah, like there's games I've played. I'm struggling to think of them, but I know they exist. Tales of Maj'Al, maybe? No, that's a bad example. Where like if you're over leveled for it, it'll just like skip the combat and you
Oh yeah, there's
like,
plenty of those.
get the stuff from it. I can't think of the games, but I know they exist. But like they
Earthbound.
still feel a little bit tedious when that happens. Oh, Earthbound did that?
Yeah. Earthbound would go, "Brrr," and then the enemy would just die, and you get, and if you were high enough level. Yeah, there's a shitload of those games, though. There's a bunch of them.
But yeah, like that can exist and it's fine and it feels good and it's better than what you described where you just run away from low level combat, but like your feeling of those combats doesn't really change. Like, oh, I'm in combat, I have to kill it to move on, okay, whatever. But it doesn't invoke the same feeling that this game does, which is a permanent sense of progression
Yeah,
every time you kill an enemy.
exactly. Literally, like the combat is the reason to, like, yeah, it's like perfect. It's like a perfect random encounter balanced thing.
It almost made me wish that there were more enemies like the Rat King or the pipe monster that chases you in the sewers, where it's like really, really annoying the first time you get there because it like chases you around and
Yeah.
stuff. and then you get like some big reprieve from actually killing it. I'm thinking of like maybe the furnace, like maybe something in the sewers would be really annoying if the furnace was still around, and then you kill the furnace and it's like easy to, I don't know, easy to navigate the sewers now. I wish there were a couple more like that, but I'm not going
I
to
think I
complain
live
about a
without that
perfect
one
combat
because
system.
even on Explorer, I didn't even come close to killing that furnace boss.
I just didn't want to find all the ticks.
That thing fucking destroyed me. Like even through guard, it did 300 damage on turn 3 to everyone. That thing was impossible.
Yeah, I know so little about the combat intricacies of this game that I've never clicked on that guard button before.
I think by the time that I had gone back through and done the promise ending and stuff, I may have stood a chance against it. But at the time that I found it, no fucking way. I want to piggyback off of what Seth was saying though, and kind of be a little bit of fly in the ointment, so to speak. Where there are actually times that I was wishing that there had been more encounters, and the reason for that being I needed fucking money. And like either I needed money or I got a new companion and I wanted to level them up because you like recruit them at level 4 when everyone else is like level 17, which kind of sucks. So there were definitely times where I was wishing that there was like more combat encounters for me to find and like grind a little bit if I needed to, but I mean grinding in this game would have defeated a lot of its purpose.
Oh, yeah.
And also uh, by the time where I really needed money was the end of the landlord's apartment segment, and there's so many fucking enemies in there that it didn't really matter anymore.
Yeah, I was actually going to say the same thing where like I felt like the time where I felt what you were feeling the most was exactly when I got to the landlord's apartment.
And I'm pretty sure, I think Seth mentioned this, but I'm pretty sure all the money that you need can be found inside of the landlord's apartment. I think.
I would 100% believe that. Are the trench maps individual amongst each level, or is it like shared? Does that make sense?
I'm not sure. I didn't spend a lot of time in there.
I'm not sure, but I'm Jordan. I'm kind of wondering if our experience of landlord's apartment isn't as bad because we were on Explorer. Like,
oh yeah,
like I specifically remember
It
opening
has
drawers and getting like $400 and being like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, I'm set.
What the fuck?
I don't know what the numbers are like on Survivor, but the rent I thought was cheap as fuck on Explorer.
Yeah.
Like
When you
it
said
wasn't
700,
even something
I
I
think
thought about.
When you said
yeah.
700, that's like I think the most we paid for the last one was like 400. It was like the first time I was there, I just did all the doors. I had enough money and I barely did the apartment at all.
I think like in total the rent was around $1,500, but like not even just that, but I don't know if like shop prices or sell prices or anything were different, but like money was pretty much a like pretty constant. I wouldn't necessarily say struggle, but like it was something I always wished I had more of.
Yeah, between not needing to buy things because the game was so easy and just money being fucking everywhere, Explorer didn't really have like money as a mechanic that really mattered past like day one.
Well, kind of regardless, though, I think I see what you're talking about, Thomas. Like, I think your point about like having an under-leveled companion that you just got and not having stuff to level it up with resonates. And I don't know if the game really has a resolution for that.
I
Like,
don't think so, no.
if you've just cleared the entire map and you find a new companion, are they just screwed? Maybe it's not supposed to matter at that point.
I think the resolution is just that outside of skills, characters are made stronger like 90% via gear.
Oh yeah.
So like even though I didn't find Papineau until like near the end of the game almost, like probably 80% of the way through the game, even at level 4, he still immediately replaced Lyle, who was like level 15.
Yeah.
Just because the skills that he came with were better, his HP pool was way higher. With good weapons, he still did damage, so it like was a huge downgrade. But like once they do get those levels and they start getting like the nicer skills and stuff, it is like a way bigger quality of life and something that I wish was more easily reconcilable.
If you told me that levels only gave health and skills, I'd believe you. Like I don't think it does anything else.
Yeah, and like as much as I said that did resonate, just from like a game design perspective, I kind of see it. I still feel like the other systems in the game account for it because once I got Audrey and like my dudes are like level 12 through 14 and she's only level 4, it's like okay, she's just my item user now. She's
Mhm.
she's gonna be my medic with tonics, and she's gonna throw out bombs, and she's probably gonna do more damage than everyone else because of
Yeah.
that.
It's exactly what Tom said. Like it's balanced around gear more than anything. So like even if you get a shitty party member that's useless, just give them a fucking gun, and then they're your gun user.
Yep. Like the only character I think that was an exception to this rule was maybe Sophie. Sophie felt like by far the weakest companion.
I thought she was dope, but she's very
Until
RNG related.
until you get the chaos skill or something. That thing is fucking Bustarino, but like she can't really do damage, but she can still fuck stuff up.
I mean, some of those marbles are sick though, especially like early on. Like the triple hit marble
I don't know, the
was doing
fact
like
that you can't change her ranged weapon, and there's only one slingshot upgrade, so like her actual attack stat like never really goes up is kind of what like I felt like she was pretty much my okay, I'm going to debuff them and now I don't know what the hell you're going to do every turn because she couldn't really equip any other weapons.
I think it just I think she was RNG dependent because some of the marbles were nuts. Like some of the marbles were doing like 100 plus damage for me. It's just that if you don't have those marbles, she doesn't do fucking anything.
I do want to say, since you mentioned it, Thomas, I do really like the system of like one of the trade-offs for a companion is that like some of their slots aren't able to be changed, and then like some are like fully modifiable, like Papineau. I just thought that was a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
cool mix-up on an RPG genre that I don't see a lot used in the way that this game did it.
I think the way that they used it specifically in this game that was the most interesting to me was the way that they did it with Audrey. I think the way that they set up Audrey's gear was really fucking cool.
Yeah, the red mage because she's a red vending machine.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like what Seth said, just to build on, like they did a really good job of giving all the characters identity via gameplay mechanics versus via dialogue.
They did both, but yeah.
Yeah. Typically, games do it via dialogue. Not a lot of games do it via mechanic.
Yeah, like even with their skills and stuff were really cool.
Yeah, like I was thinking, kind of reflecting on this before the episode, but I thought like maybe the least interesting was like Papineau, but even that one's unique because he has the like once a day lunch that he
Yeah.
can use that's super useful. It's like
Very cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're all super unique.
And it's like super cool. Like it plays into him being like a janitor, right? And like bringing the lunch to work and shit. Like
Yeah.
it's like it's fantastic character building via mechanics, which is just kind of something that games don't do a lot of the time.
Yeah, like oddly enough, and it's funny to me because they came out around the same time, but I was thinking a lot of the character designs from a gameplay perspective in this game reminded me of Expedition 33. But this game does it almost even more like reflective of who they are as a character than that
for
game
sure.
did.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, it makes me wonder what a playthrough would be like if you did manage. Like I said, I think I found by the end of the game, I think I found 6 companions, and I had the mask in my apartment as well. Not that that really does anything, but um, makes me wonder what a playthrough would be like if, like, by either some combination of RNG and knowledge, you just ended up with like 12 dudes in your apartment by the end of the game. Like, is there a limit? Could you have all like 18 or whatever?
I want to say you probably can. It's probably just hard as fuck because it's part of the score, right? So I'm assuming it's possible to get all of them.
Yeah, I just don't know how it works with a lot of the door encounters that give you companions. Like that's where I think you would be limited, but
I think some of them are day limited. Like I think you can only get some of them early on, and then they just aren't there after like day 3, 4, or 5. So I think you'd probably a run probably looks like the first 2 days you just play video games and get everybody, and then you start playing the game on like day 3.
Yeah.
that makes sense. Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
I feel like part of the reason that I never found a companion through a door encounter was because I was only ever optimizing for my exploration of the apartment, and I
Yeah.
never played the video games.
I only
That's
got
crazy.
I only played like 2 of them, but like yeah, one of them is a 30% agility and
Mhm.
something boost for your entire party.
Oh
It's
my God.
insane.
Yeah, that skill's nuts.
I thought that the crossword in the video games were just like ways to pass time if you wanted to go to bed early. I didn't know they gave you like busted fucking abilities.
Well,
Oh
it's-
yeah, some of
I
them
mean,
are
the game
crazy.
tells you basically when after you play one like video game, it tells you like you should really finish this game. Like it's
Yeah.
basically saying do it, dumbass, because
It
it's insane the
absolutely
shit they give you.
does. And that's the only reason why I ended up like when the gaming vendor came to my door, I bought Massacre Princess because it was like the most expensive thing by like 2
Yeah.
times over. So I was like, this has got to be awesome. and then it requires like I think it requires more than 24 hours to finish. Like you have to play it like over 10 times. I
That's
forget.
insane.
And it goes from 2 hours, and then by the end it's up to 3 hours. Like it definitely uses like more than a day's worth of time to finish it. And then it gives you a fucking skill that costs 999 mana that you just can't even fucking use.
That's tied to a fucking ending.
Yeah. Crazy.
Dude, and then the fucking crossword puzzle, which takes like God fucking knows how long. All I know is it takes a really long time, and then like apparently like some of the best weapons are locked behind that fucking thing, and nothing tells you to fucking do it.
I thought
Fucking crazy.
I thought it explicitly tells you like not to do it because it calls it
Yeah, this is
boring.
just a waste of your time, is like what it
Yeah.
says.
Yeah. And then like I think you do it, and if memory serves, one of those like secondary stats goes down, like your morale or some shit.
I don't remember if that's for crossword. That's for one of the games for sure. You play one of the games and you're like, this is boring or something. Or like Jumpman
Mhm.
3, the game's like, yeah, this is like a corporate sellout game. You're having no fun. But
Yeah,
no,
and
I
then
think
it's
the
all tied
crossword
to a
thing,
secret dungeon, a super
yeah,
boss, and an ending.
yeah, figuring out that like the
Crazy.
blacksmith who makes insane weapons is tied behind something the game actively tells you to not do is like,
I found the fucking blacksmith in the spore mother place, and I thought he was real. And after I killed the spore mother, I was like, "Where the hell did he go?" Oh, I was being lied to about all this shit. There's not a card game either.
well, I
That's
mean, there might be a
hilarious.
card game somewhere, but there's definitely like Valhalla definitely she's tied behind some like insane weapons that I didn't get for obvious fucking reasons.
Did you guys I forget where you find it. Maybe it's the same place where you get the Saturn disc uh that gives you the blank video game. Did you guys ever use
Yeah,
that? What does that do?
yeah. So that's tied to the mask ending.
What
So
does
there's
it
4
do?
rare items that you need to get. I think they're literally called weird items. And so that one, you know how there's a video game console in the lights out apartment that you can play, and it's like your games didn't
Mhm.
work. Of course they didn't. If you put it in there, it's a whole fucking other dungeon that you can play.
What?
It's a
With
entire dungeon with like glitched out fucking enemies and shit.
glitched out enemies, glitched out items, and I think it has the hardest super boss in the
Yeah,
game. Is what I heard.
Honko. Yeah, the hardest super boss in the game is there, and it's only if you play the game that he's from. So there's another game, and if you play that to completion, and then you go to this, then it has Honko in there, and he's like the hardest boss in the game.
That's insane.
I get
I read what happens in the mask ending, but I didn't actually read how to get it.
Yeah,
I get the feeling that you can't do all the content in one playthrough. It
oh
just
for sure
feels like
not,
impossible.
definitely not.
I think you like if you went into it with prior knowledge, you could definitely get extremely
Most of it, yeah,
close.
but
I don't.
it's hard.
Yeah, there's like certain big time sink things like Massacre Princess, I think, that would really make it difficult just because you have to suck up like a non-trivial percentage of time using it,
Yeah,
and it does nothing.
same with the crossword puzzle. Like I think I saw people say numbers. I think it takes literally 40 minutes of real life time to go through the entire crossword book because you just
What
get
the
interrupted and
fuck?
shit. You just because like you do like you're like I want to do 8 puzzles and then like you did 2 puzzles and someone's at the door and it's just constantly that shit. And then it's like you ran out of time, go to sleep, wake up, do it again, get interrupted, and there's so many fucking crossword puzzles.
That's insane.
Yeah,
The iceberg of this game goes so deep that it's hard to imagine. It's hard to even
yeah.
visualize.
I don't think any of that was in 1.0, by the way. That's all 2.0. I think the crossword dungeon. I know the unlabeled cartridge is 2.0 only.
Yeah, you have the
Yeah.
endings added in 2.0. Words of Power, that's a crossword one. Promise, Unity, Mask, Final True Ending. Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
that's like the game.
All the good ones. All the good ones, yeah. But no, Perfect Ritual is still a really cool one, but
Yeah, I like
yeah.
Perfect Ritual.
Like the entire mask ending is just like, okay, this game has a little bit of La Mulana inside it now because the shit that you have to do for the 4 strange offerings you have to get
Yeah.
is just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that's almost probably my biggest letdown from the game is what the mask ending is versus how cool it is to get those items. Like I think the payoff for that like sucks, personally.
Why? What do you not like about it?
Like the mask ending just felt kind of like, yeah, I mean, this is kind of cool. It didn't really feel like as cool. It wasn't nearly as cool as the fucking Perfect Ritual truth ending. That I think is that or Unity are like the two coolest endings. But like the mask ending was just like, I don't know. I feel like I've seen this before. It didn't really feel like anything cool was happening. But like the way that you get the items, like via the unlabeled cartridge, I can't even remember the other ones, but I remember I looked them up. But like that part was so cool. So if I did all of that and then it was just like, oh, you fuse with the mask, I would have been like, eh. At least for me personally, I know a lot of people apparently like that mask ending, but for me, the mask ending was one of the weaker ones.
Well, it's not just fusing with the mask, though, right? Like, it's like I compared it to the movie Triangle to Seth when I was talking about it with him the other day, where it's like Sam becomes the mask, and so like you're just constantly stuck in this like fucking time closed loop paradox sort of thing, and then when you crawl into the cape is when that loop closes because the mask, aka Sam, is like, yeah, closing the loop. Which, yeah, not like super original by any stretch, but also like kind of weird to realize that that thing was fucking Sam.
Like I like all that idea. I just don't like it as a payoff for like getting the 4 cool La Milana style items. That's like my
Like,
disconnect.
the way I see it, and like maybe it's not to this degree, is it kind of feels like an ending and process inserted for like the community of the game. You know, like I'm thinking of Animal Well, like how you had to team up together to get the crazy ending in that game. And this game doesn't go quite that hard,
Yeah.
but there is a lot of like secret stuff that you have to find. And I especially say that it's a community thing because I feel like before the mask ending was a thing, like everyone was probably talking about like, okay, what the hell is going on with the mask? Like what is he up to? And I feel like if you're one of those people that like wrote a 5-page theory for what the mask is up to, and then like this update comes out and you have to do all this crazy stuff to finally learn it, I feel like that would be a payoff for those people. But I'm not one of
Oh
those
yeah.
people, so I kind of agree.
I
I
think
don't
that
know.
that would be true. I think go ahead, Tom.
No, I was just gonna say like I'm not gonna like sit here and like disagree super hard because like I said it's something that's been done before, but I just think the concept of it, right? Like it's a version of Sam that like failed the ritual and became like unmoored from time or whatever is, I don't know, it's at least it's like a Mortal Kombat ending, you know? Like it sounds cool on its face even though it's not super meaty.
Yeah. And again, I agree that the concept of what the ending is cool. I don't like how you get the ending and what the ending is. That's like the disconnect that I don't like because it's like you're getting these 4 weird items and then it just does this ending that doesn't really feel like it's related to those 4 weird items that you got. And especially with how cool getting the items is kind of where it was like didn't like I kind of expected some crazy like cosmic shit to happen. If anything, I would think that that ending would be the final true ending style ending where it'd be like just some meme of like something spawns and then like just like kills the visitor and then everything goes back to normal, but it's actually like fantasy or something. The fact that it was the mask ending to me just kind of misaligned expectations to what I was expecting to happen.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that because it is definitely the most like convoluted weird ending to get. But like I think the most convoluted weird ending should also have the most convoluted weird ending. I guess is kind of how I choose to think about it. But like not having any like major overall plot implications with what's actually going on, I can definitely see why that would be disappointing.
Yeah, and I think that there is like people have come up with like reasons for why those items create like the mask persona or whatever, but I don't know. To me, it wasn't a matching vibe.
Yeah, I kind of have trouble separating myself from the fact that I didn't pursue that ending. So to me, that ending kind of just exists in a vacuum. And like many of the endings, I think that the writing for it is very good.
Oh
So
yeah,
like the disappointment you're describing makes sense, but I'm having trouble separating myself to really see it,
Yeah, that's how I feel
or
about it
rather to
too,
feel it.
because I didn't go back and replay the game to get the other endings. I experienced them all just reading the descriptions on Wiki and expanding the galleries, and just from that, I think they're all amazing. But I don't actually have genuine opinions on each one, if that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
because the actual ending I got in the game was flawed ritual, which I think is a bad end. Like, I think technically it's a bad ending, but I still thought it was cool and loved it. So
yeah.
I think there's at least a non-0% chance that if I got each ending, I think they were pretty cool. regardless
for
of how
sure.
like crazy and unhinged some of them are.
The hamster ones are fucking truly insane.
Yeah.
I think that those are the two craziest ones, like just from like a what the fuck's going on style ending. And also probably the worst endings in terms of like resolution.
Yeah, that's kind of just like a third party that entered the stage and is like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm gonna fuck up the world now.
Yeah. I think for me it's because I found the glitch world organically and then I looked up what the glitch world gives me and then I was like, what the hell? And then so I expected it to be the mask ending to be something crazy, but then when I looked it up, I was like, oh, that's not what I thought it was gonna be. So I think that's where the disappointment came from. But I think if you played 1.0, like you guys said, and then you were like, what the fuck is the mask? What the fuck is the mask? And you were thinking about this thing for 6 months, and then finally you find out that it's just Sam, would probably be a lot cooler.
Yeah, and just like another shout out for that ending that I didn't realize until like a couple days ago, is that ending, if you actually do it, um, like you play through the game and you interact with the mask, and there are like different dialogue options for interacting with them or not interacting with them, and that ending remembers all of those choices. So like when the mask in that ending
Oh
cutscene
yeah,
interacts with Sam, he will do the response that you did, and I don't know. I just think that's really
Huh.
cool.
yeah. I mean that's. I mean I don't know if you guys want to talk about that, but like yeah, the reactivity of this game is like insane.
It is ridiculous.
It's not
The
Baldur's Gate level 3 level, but like it is the
It's
RPG
pretty
Maker equivalent
close
of Baldur's Gate 3.
considering the scope.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's the RPG Maker equivalent of what what they did in Baldur's Gate 3.
I think like pound for pound in terms of like one or two people working on this game, it is potentially more reactivity given that only like one or two people worked on this game, right? Like there's a lot. There's a fucking lot.
Yeah. I think it's I do want to say like I think Baldur's Gate completely dominates it in terms of reactivity, but I think that this game has a surprising amount for what it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a game like this to have the sheer number of dialogue options that
Yeah.
it does for like Lyle's campaign, for example, and having like dozens of unique lines of dialogue for every companion that you could possibly have there. And you have like kind of discrete examples of this. Like if you go to recruit the spider, uh there you have to meet like a certain score with him with his dialogue options to like make yourself seem pathetic or whatever. And that's an example where like your inputs are directly affecting the outcome of that discrete choice, and like that's only one example. There's there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean just the fact that you can attack every NPC that you talk to is already enough for me.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
actually crazy. I mentioned previously like how expendable I think everyone is. And if you actually play through this game and finish some of the quest lines, you'll see like how their fates end up, and it actually ends up being pretty crazy considering when you first meet them, they just seem like a random like live journal NPC from Undertale, like a fan
Yeah.
NPC. And then they're like the way that they end up is so fucking crazy. There's actually so much content for a lot of the characters that are like really unique,
Yep.
and you could also just never experience it by just when the first time you meet them, you click on attack and kill them. And all that content just disappears from your game,
Yeah,
basically.
it's crazy.
yeah, it's like there's just so many like different small examples, and it might not have the same level of like chaining roots that something like Baldur's Gate 3 has, but like that there's still just a lot for what there is in the game. Like, you take one of the companions like Sophie or Helen that has like their own quest, and like the ending, the perfect, no, not perfect ritual, the happy ending. What's the happy ending called?
Perfect ritual.
Is it perfect
Promise?
ritual?
What
Promise.
I
That's
don't know
it.
what you
Thank
mean
you.
by happy
Yeah.
because I think perfect ritual denial is also a happy ending.
Yeah. I'm thinking of Promise though. Like that one will have a reaction to actually doing the quest for each of those companions
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
Wait, can you actually find Sophie's parents?
I believe so. I think they're a door encounter.
Do you find them? Because I thought it was like I thought in the promise ending, I thought the dialogue was like even though Sophie never found her parents, you acted as a parent for her or something.
I didn't have Sophie, so I didn't look too much into it, but I think that would be an example where if you did that quest, then that dialogue would change.
Yeah, because that's the dialogue that I got, and I didn't even realize that I could be steered in the direction of actually locating her parents.
I think I remember like there's an implication of who their parents was, and I think they're dead.
Like I mentioned this before, but like I've never even met Sophie, and the more I'm hearing about her, the more it sounds like she's like the most important fucking character.
She's just a little kid. She's
Uh,
not that important. I think she's about as important as everybody else.
Sophie can be returned to Harriet if she is present when Harriet arrives, or at their home when Harriet is in. After returning Sophie to the human Harriet, she will give Sam several healing items.
Damn, that's crazy.
What the
And
fuck?
yeah, that's her mother.
That's crazy.
I'm pretty sure, like, I think every character has a quest associated with them. I could be wrong, but I
The
think
amount
that's
of
true.
characters, like, does anybody know who Dan is?
Yeah, I had Dan. Dan was
Okay.
the first. Dan was the first person in my party.
Dan seems insane. He's like, he plays all the video games with you. He's like a professional streamer. Like, this guy has like, it's like this crazy character, and I never even interacted with someone like that. And it's just like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, he was my healer. He was awesome. He was who I put my coat of arms on when I found him.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
crazy
I
that
have
there's that
no
much
idea
shit.
who that is.
Yeah, exactly.
The first guy I found in this game was Ernest, the homeless dude.
Oh
And
yeah,
he was the
I think
only
me too.
guy
Yeah.
that I had forever, which pissed me off because I had to give him a sandwich every day, like fucking Gale.
My God, he is like Gale.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mentioned it to Thomas earlier in the chat, but the craziest one to find out was a companion was fucking Spine, the random monster that you fight or can
Yeah.
fight in the meat world when you first go there by turning the lights off. Fucking Spine is its own fucking companion. It has its own quests where I'm not gonna get into that because it's gross.
When you said there were 18 companions, I didn't stop to think about like, well, who are the ones that I didn't already know, and that would not have made the short list.
Mhm.
No, not even close.
Yeah, it's fucking. Can't you get Aster as a companion somehow?
Yeah.
Like
I thought it was like I was looking into it because I was trying to find a fourth companion and I just couldn't find any. And I thought all you had to do was talk to Jasper and then talk to Aster and then he's chill joining you. But I couldn't find the dialogue option to do it.
I didn't even look into it. I just saw when I was watching like videos of shit that they had Aster, and I was like, what the fuck? Why?
And by the way, if you're wondering if the game reacts to you having Aster in your party and he gets turned into a monster through a failed ritual, it does. If you are in the mask ending and you do that and he transforms into a monster, he will join your party as a monster.
Crazy, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like anybody to call back to the engine discussion earlier, anybody who says like, oh, you can't use X engine to realize your vision can go fuck themselves because this game is like could easily be an Unreal Engine 5 game, but it's a fucking RPG Maker game, which is arguably one of the weakest engines there is. Air quotes weakest.
All right. We've touched a lot. It's been a little bit all over the place because I think we've all had a lot of gushing to do about this game. Let's see. Okay, so this was a question I was interested in. So, something I was kind of struggling with that may be indicative of my score later is whether or not I liked this game more than Expedition 33. Um, and it feels really weird to compare this game to it because like Expedition 33 is like super narrative heavy, even more than this game, even more character driven than this game is, and like the emotional beats that it hits with those things are very, very, very different than this kind of game. They're only similar in the sense of like, being in like the negative emotion side. But something I was wondering is like, I felt like viscerally disturbed and grossed out and all of those kind of feelings throughout playing this game. Like you get to a new monster sprite that's like fucking spy and it's just a person turned inside out, or like the really gross visceral descriptions that the game gives throughout. Like I was consistently unsettled and grossed out with a lot of these things, but that doesn't like hit quite the same way to me as something that's like egregiously sad like Expedition 33 is. And I'm wondering if you guys like value these emotions that like movies or games like this explore similarly. Like are the emotional highs and emotional beats of Expedition 33 comparable at all to the type of like grotesque beats emotionally that Look Outside is doing? How do you guys feel about that?
I definitely feel differently about each one. Like again, because just in the back of my mind, I feel like every NPC in Look Outside is expendable.
Yeah.
I kind of I look at their horrible fate as more of like a fucked up. Well, it is what it is, and that's your lot in life. You're just like a fucking meat puddle or whatever. It is what it is. Whereas I wouldn't feel that way about Expedition 33 characters because I cared about them, which is why I was like more devastated about how the endings turned out as opposed to Look Outside, where arguably every ending is fucking horrible. But like I kind of just instead of like feeling horrible about it, I'd be like, wow, they came up with a crazy ending for this outcome.
Yeah. I think Ben nailed it. It's like Look Outside is a more world driven experience. You care more about the world and what's happening and the situations that are happening more than the characters, because Expedition 33 is almost the exact opposite, where it's all about the fucking characters. So yeah, I like this game. I never even got like close to any sort of like crying over any of the characters or even kind of feeling bad for any of them. It was more just like marvel and like mysticism at, or that's not the right word, but just marveling at everything that was going on. And whenever I ran into a new character, it was just like, Jesus Christ, like how do you come up with Teeth Man? How do you come up with fucking any of these fucking characters? So I never really was
Yeah,
like,
like
oh,
yeah, but like I think what I'm trying to get at is that like Expedition 33 makes you care about its characters, or like the Nier games make you care about its characters. But this game to me hit emotional beats almost as well, just very, very different emotions.
So here's my take. It's that you have to look at where the source of those emotional highs and lows and beats, whatever, are coming from. Because, like, in something like Expedition 33 and Near, those games are going to operate on an axis where it's like man versus man or like man versus system. And the emotional beats that you derive from that are going to be bittersweet or tragic or whatever. And the player or the person ingesting that narrative is going to find meaning through like the character's personal sacrifice or the depth of the human connection. And like the goal that those games set out for is to make you feel a sense of this like profound, like tearful catharsis or whatever. And so in Look Outside, it's operating on a different axis because there is no you versus the system. Like the game right off the bat tells you the system won, and you're not going to be able to fight back for a very fucking long time. So the emotional highs are rooted in something different. It's like this combination of like disgust and like cosmic fear, and like a lot of the emotional peaks are going to rely on this realization that there is no man versus the system. There's only you and your individuality and your like very the humanity that defines you. And the game goes through and basically is describing that as this like temporary delusion that doesn't matter. So like where something like Expedition 33 is going to rely on these like heart-wrenching goodbyes, in this game it's like this visceral shock of like at some point waking up and like realizing that you're just some fucking like universal cosmic rounding error from this massive universe scale beast or whatever. And they're just rooted in two very 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 different concepts.
yeah, I don't think I had near like the emotional highs of Expedition 33 with this game. This game was more just like wonder and like just being like, God damn, like they drew this, or damn, this writing's sick, or this prose is sick, and things like that, more than me actually like getting involved and invested in the world to the point of where it was like I'm about to cry when I try to figure out whose ending I'm gonna pick.
Yeah, this game's just rooted way less in like human emotion and connection, and
Yeah.
has more of like a I guess kind of like a philosophical background radiation to it rather than like an emotional one.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe the thing I'm trying to get at is when it comes to evaluating a piece of media, like a game, are the feelings that a game like Nier or Expedition 33 similar or better or worse than a game like this that is trying to like scare you or gross you out or like invoke that sense of identity? Like, they're different feelings. Is there, like, what kind of value judgment do we place there when we're trying to analyze what a game is trying to do?
I think I put them in different pockets. Like I don't compare this to Expedition 33 like narratively basically at all. I
Yeah,
would compare this
same.
to anything else that would exist in a cosmic horror sense, but anything outside of that narratively, like for me, it's just a completely different emotional hits and everything.
Yeah, because like I would say Expedition 33 has more of like the genre trappings of like a drama. Like
Oh yeah,
whereas this obviously has the genre trappings of surprise surprise like horror, and I wouldn't necessarily compare the emotional beats or like what something is trying to emotionally extract from me from a drama the same way that I would a horror.
and I think
And
e- even in thinking of like different cosmic horror games, like I think Signalis is kind of a character-driven cosmic horror, while this is like a world-driven cosmic horror. So I think it's
Yep.
even
yeah,
tough to compare even Signalis to this, which is very
yeah.
already two pretty similar games.
Yeah,
I,
100% agreed.
Yeah, and I just think that like on its face, just like without even thinking about it too deeply, I think something like a Look Outside is just more intriguing to me than something like Signalis, where like when I saw like the cutscenes in Signalis and I realized that like under the whole thing it was just like white noise drama for women, I kind of tuned it out. Whereas in this game, it's so fucking morbid that I can't help to be
Yeah,
kind of curious about the whole fucking thing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, like one of the feelings I had, and like part of the reason I'm asking this is, like I fucking love the movie Midsummer. I love that movie very, very much, and I distinctly remember being in the theater watching it as the events in the ending are happening, and I'm just like sitting with my knees pulled up to my chest and my hands over my eyes, but my fingers are
Hmm.
slitted so that I can still watch the movie, but I can't help but turn away because of like what disturbing fucking events are happening in front of me. And that's a similar feeling that I got in this game in some of the endings, particularly Perfect Ritual Truth, as well as Mask, where like it's doing such a good job of evoking those feelings out of me. And like when I analyze a game, that's a big thing that I look at, is like, what was its intent and how well is it doing those things. And because of that, I feel like for the most part, this game did that almost perfectly. Maybe not throughout the entire game, but the highs of what it's trying to evoke out of me are hitting the same highs as something like Expedition 33, I think.
Yeah, I understand that, especially
Yeah,
with
I
the
mean,
endings.
for sure. And like I said, I think that like if you wanted to compare this to anything, you would compare this to Evangelion. Like this game and Evangelion share so much narrative DNA that like they could fucking pass for cousins on ancestry.com or some shit. Like they're both just these like ontological horrors that are just dealing with this like dissolution of the self sort of thematic ideas. And I think that the only thing that really separates them, well, no, nothing. Nothing separate. These games are so, or those two narratives are so goddamn similar. Because what I was
Yeah.
going to say is that what separates them is like the grotesque, nasty body horror shit of this game. But then you think about the last 30 minutes of fucking end of Evangelion, it's like, well, no, that's not even true. So if you want to compare like the emotional outcomes and what I think you're supposed to get out of these games, I would look no further than Evangelion. Although I will say that I think Evangelion also deals more in more like personal themes. I think that this game just zooms out from what Evangelion is saying a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a strange thing with this game where, like, especially because so many of the endings are quote unquote bad endings. Uh, it's like, even though, like you've been saying, like one of the big themes is individuality, and the game like outright states that, it also zooms out so far that you can't see a tree in the forest, right?
Hmm. Yeah, it's kind of crazy because, like, for something that is so on its face dealing with, like these individuality themes and like these, like death of dualism ideas. It's sort of crazy that the game never really zooms in too hard on any one character. Like even Sam, it doesn't really make a point to
Yeah.
go too deep into who Sam is, like as a person and emotionally, and everyone else. So even for a game dealing with all of this individualistic shit, it never really stops to really hone in on any of those individuals too much. And I'm not saying that as a flaw, because I think that's like a very purposeful decision. It's just an interesting way of doing it because I feel like they kind of nailed the core message that they were trying to say, or at least the what they were trying to propose.
Yeah, I mean, I think that this game works because they don't zoom in on anyone too much, right? Because if they did zoom in on people too much, then the endings, you're going to hate the bad endings, right? Like Ben would have very
Right.
bad experiences with this game
Yeah,
with the
for
bad
sure.
endings. But because there's no real character focus, all of these horrific things can happen. And you're just like, damn, that's crazy. Anyway, what's the other one? Like,
Yeah.
you're not like, this
Mhm.
fucking sucks. I hate this.
Yeah, it's like, I think we mentioned it earlier, where like, if this game hits such a fine balance of making you care and be interested in these characters, but not too much because you know they're gonna
Yeah,
turn into goop in most of these
exactly.
endings.
Yeah, I think it's like perfect. It's like a perfect way to do it. A perfect way to have horrific things happen and the player not care negatively, but care enough about the characters to still want to keep playing the game. Like, is I can't think of a better way to do it.
Um, well, following up Thomas's bring in with Evangelion, and maybe the answer to this is obvious. I was just curious to see where you guys felt. Did you guys feel like this game was derivative or original? And if it was on a scale, which of those would it weight more towards? Because I feel like a lot of the inspirations of this game, it kind of wears on its sleeve. The most obvious ones being like Cronenberg and Lovecraft, but like maybe there's some subtle theming ones in there, like or not so subtle, as Thomas seems to be pointing out with Evangelion. But yeah, like where exactly do you guys fall on that? Because it's doing a lot new, but also wearing its inspiration on its sleeve.
I could start. I could say I think it's one of the most derivative games I've ever played. There's nothing about this game that I think is a unique aspect of it. I think it just does everything that other things do really well, pulls them all together and makes like a really sick package.
I don't really play a lot of these games like this, so I thought it was pretty original. But again, that's just like from my very limited experience with like RPG Maker style games.
Yeah, so I'm curious, Jordan, what makes you say that?
I think it's very derivative of Fear and Hunger. I think massively so. I think this game probably wouldn't exist if Fear and Hunger didn't exist. And I think it's very derivative of Sweet Home, which is a game that probably no one is potentially in this channel has heard of. But if you have, I fucking love that game. But it's like a 1989 fucking RPG like horror game, kind of like this. And I think it does a kind of a lot of things that that game does, but like not in an asinine way. And then for like narrative perspective, I feel like that they've done like God is unintentionally killing like society by just being there, or like aliens are doing it. Like I feel like that story's been done a
Paradise
lot
Killer.
before. Oh yeah, that's a good point. I mean, there's that. Like even like Near kind of does that, right? But it's not quite the same thing. But it's like an unintentional ruining of society via this cosmic being showing up because they shouldn't have. So like that doesn't really feel like it's a new idea. Like I don't know what this game does that is a new idea. If you guys can think of something like novel this game does, I'm open to it.
It's interesting because, like, I think that something can something can wear itself or wear its inspirations on its sleeve while still maintaining originality. Like, I think an example of that would be, I guess this is kind of cringe, but like a Tarantino movie where like Tarantino is obviously making his movies as like love letters to these like 70s western and kung fu movies or whatever, but like no one makes a movie quite like Quentin Tarantino does. And in some ways I think that this game is kind of an example of that because yes, like I know I just got done talking about how much DNA this game shares with Evangelion, but at the same time, it's different when it can take these like high level medical or metaphysical concepts and in the way that Evangelion tried to make them these like super intimate character driven studies on these like fuck ups and how humanity would react to basically all being put in a fucking blender together. This game does it in a totally different way where it doesn't necessarily care so much about those characters that are getting put in that blender. It just wants to look at the blender. And I think that this game, even though it's not really doing anything super unique or interesting, even from like a gameplay mechanical perspective. I mean, what did we say? Like, this is the game that handles, um, like, random encounters really well, better than any game. It handles the time mechanic better than any game. Like, yeah, maybe it's like taking stuff that we haven't like it's not like the first time we're ever seeing any of it, but it has done it in a different way that also made it better.
Yeah, I mean that's why I say it's 100% derivative. Like I don't think it has any novel concepts, but I think it took all the concepts that it's using and just did it really well. I don't think it's a bad thing that it's completely derivative, right?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
in the context of the
I
question of is it unique or is it derivative, I think it's 100% derivative.
well, I think it's still like a fair question to say like a peanut butter and jelly is derivative. You take bread, which already exists, you take jelly, which already exists, you take peanut butter, which already exists, and you combine all three of them. But the person that invented the peanut butter and jelly is a fucking genius.
Well,
And so
sure.
like
Yeah,
if we want
and
to call a PB&J derivative, we can, but like even if something is entirely derivative, you still have to consider the mentality of someone that thought that it was okay to combine these things in this way and make
Yeah.
it work.
I mean, that's why I say fear and hunger, right? Like, because I think that analogy works for fear and hunger. Because fear and hunger may be derivative of other things, but it kind of put them in a way that was very unique. And I think this game is just like piggybacking over a lot of the like the core design philosophy of fear and hunger.
see, here's my thing though, is that like, at what point do we say something is no longer derivative? Because like, if this game's derivative of Fear and Hunger, which yes, I wouldn't disagree with that. I mean, Fear and Hunger is derivative of Lisa, which is derivative of Yume Nikki, which is derivative of like how
Yeah.
far down do you go in the like stack of turtles before you're like, okay, this thing's no longer derivative. Like, I think you have to treat it like. You ever heard of a cladogram?
No.
A cladogram is basically a way of like classifying species, right? So like you've got kingdom, phyla, class, order,
Oh,
species,
sure.
etc., right? And in order for there to like be a branch off of the cladogram for a species, they have to have like some sort of like interesting or novel like mutation that separates them from whatever class of animal is above them. And I think that you can reliably do that with as you trace that lineage from like Yume Nikki to
Sure.
Lisa to Fear and Hunger to this game. I think like I think all of them would end up with like different arms on the cladogram.
Some more than others. I think Fear and Hunger is definitely like Fear and Hunger is crazy enough where I would call games Fear and Hunger like. I would not call any games Lisa like. I would call them Earthbound Mother likes. So I think it just depends. And I think this game falls into becoming a Fear and Hunger like versus other games are going to be like a Look Inside like.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to like debate the point because I've never played Fear and Hunger, but yeah.
I mean, it's like again, like at
I
some point, everything's going to have to be derivative because not everybody comes up with something like Vampire Survivors and defines a whole genre, right? Like that's very hard to do, and the more time that goes on, that's more impossible to do. So it's not a negative to be derivative of something; it just is what it is. As long as you do the thing
no,
well,
no.
who gives a shit?
Yeah, no, when I asked the question, I definitely didn't intend for it to be like a value proposition in either way because of exactly
Mhm.
what you said. Thomas, you can go in a second. I just want to quickly point out that I thought it was really funny that one other brother made a peanut butter and jelly analogy and the other made a cladogram analogy, which is a word I didn't even know before this.
That's funny.
That is funny.
Um, But yeah, I don't when I'm not trying to like insinuate that you feel like it being derivative is like bad, because like I don't it's not a bad thing for something to be derivative as long as it's
Yeah.
not a copycat or whatever,
Correct.
right? I'm just trying to figure out like how we draw that line and like where that boundary is between something being 49% original versus being 51% original. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
don't I just don't know what like tips those scales.
I think when it comes to games, it's just very like specifically, are they doing something crazy different than what other people have done before? Even if they get that idea from another game, that they expand upon it crazy. And this game to me doesn't do anything new. It just does existing things really, really, really well.
Yeah, because it's like I'm trying to think. Like the specific example that's in my head is another movie analogy, which just makes it fucking useless for the population of this Discord channel. But like something like the movie Event Horizon versus Alien. Like yeah, like Event Horizon is a sci-fi horror that takes place on a spaceship, and people are trapped in space, and they don't have an Earth to run around in, and there's a monster chasing them around the spaceship in space. But like narratively, thematically, it like doesn't really share anything in common with Alien other than those characteristics. But you would be absolutely correct to say that Event Horizon is like some percentage derivative of
Yeah.
Alien.
And I think you're also like 100% correct with like some things are mostly derivative, but then come up with their own idea, right? Like that's why I say this game is 100% derivative, unless you guys can tell me something that this game does that other games don't. Because we've already mentioned like wizardry. Like I can't think of anything that this game does that's new to gaming.
Yeah, I guess I think about it less so in the like actual mechanics of the game and more in the mechanics of the narrative. I guess is how I like to think about it.
Yeah, like I guess that's one thing is like maybe I mean this has to exist. Like how many games are there where the majority of them, arguably all of them, are bad endings, right? Like it seems like a really hard
Near.
thing to make a game where that works.
Near.
I would call those
Here has a happy ending.
they're
so does
and
this
they're also
game.
melancholic for the most part.
Yeah.
I think yeah.
Well, this game definitely has good endings and not good endings.
Yeah.
Um,
And melancholic
So-
endings, ish.
So, like, here's something that I think separates it from Fear and Hunger, though, is in the tone. Because, as again, I have not played Fear and Hunger, but as far as I understand, the tone of that game is very like pessimistic, bordering
Very
on like
ruthless.
nihilistic.
Very
And
ruthless, yes.
I don't like. Are there happy endings in that game? I legit don't know.
I
You don't have to
think
answer
there's-
that because I actually want to play it.
So I don't either. Like I've literally removed myself from a decent amount from that game and not looking things up because I do want to experience it myself. But I don't. I think the right way of what I know of it is it's not happy endings. There's good endings.
hmm Yeah, so like I think that like that's a way when I say that I think about the originality of this game in terms more along the axis of the narrative, it's in that like crazy way of examining like sort of similar ideas to something like Evangelion, but in a very, very different like setting and tone.
Yeah. The narrative is definitely more interesting one. To me, it doesn't feel unique. I can't say for sure, but like I felt like I've seen it before where like God is killing people by being around or something, or like there are beings that are killing society by being around and they have to leave. Like so I can't exactly say what that's from, but I don't think that it's new because my brain feels like that I've seen that somewhere before.
Yeah, I wish Thomas didn't make the Evangelion analogy. Otherwise, I would say that the like you have to maintain your individuality in order to not turn into a monster would be it. But Evangelion exists.
Yeah. But again, like I think what they did is fucking awesome, and I don't even want them to do anything new. Like I think this game is great the way it is.
Yeah, like I'm not even fully convinced of what I like my personal thought is that this game is it's more original than it is derivative, but like even if it was at one extreme or the other, like it wouldn't change how I feel about the quality of the game.
Yeah.
I think I lean more towards derivative, but yeah, same thing you guys are saying. That doesn't make it a worse thing. It just means that it's taking all of my favorite ingredients in a dish and combining them
Yeah.
to make fucking
Mhm.
ratatouille or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
even though I
exactly.
think it's go ahead, Tom.
Oh god, my thumb's really slippery. Hang on.
I mean, so I was just gonna say, Even I think it's literally 100% derivative, and despite that, I think it's still like there's almost nothing I would change about this game. Everything I would change is like pet peeve, nitpick, tiny things.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this probably exists, but I want to test you. Is there a game where you're told to do something and it immediately leads to a game over?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Disco
Right at the
Elysium?
start of the game.
oh, Disco Elysium is a great example.
Yep.
And by proxy, Planescape Torment, which is
Okay.
like another game that like kind of fits the mold of what you guys were describing way earlier, where it's like a game that wears its inspirations on its sleeve. But you nowadays you don't even hear about people saying that Disco Elysium is like a spiritual successor to Planescape Torment. People call other games like in
Yeah.
Disco Lights instead.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? If enough time passes between the art, it's like forgotten. And then like another thing could just show up and then just do it. And then that's the thing that people think is the thing that's like the original source, right?
Yeah.
Isn't there a
Definitely.
term for that?
Probably
Yes.
some Japanese or German term.
I can't remember what the word is, but there is a term for that.
But yeah, again, like
Okay.
it doesn't need to be original to be fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry about my slippery thumb. Remember what I said about lotion? And then I have like an OCD thing, not OCD, but I don't know, an autistic thing maybe, where like as I'm sitting at my desk, I like constantly floss my teeth. So I had like
That might be OCD.
I've had like a wet thumb.
That's so funny.
It's excuse me. This is really helping the situation.
You're like fucking Joel. You
That's
just
funny.
got so many rows of teeth. You just got to keep flossing.
I think I kind of want to pick Funger just because I found out that there's that infinite save mod that we could get Ben through it. Just because I do want to experience it, and I think that game would really have great conversation around it.
I didn't know
The
you never
conversation
played
is
it.
how brutal it is. No, I've only watched Cole play it, and then I kind of like I literally turned it off at some point because I was like, I think this is something I should experience, and with knowing as little as possible. So I've even like forgotten a lot of the small beats that I saw with Cole. I just kind of know like the grand mechanical idea of the game. And one thing about that game is that everything's a coin flip. Like everything. If you find a chest, it flips a coin in front of you, and then an outcome happens.
What the hell?
That's crazy.
It's crazy.
Well, we are at about almost 2.5 hours. I think we still have some other questions on here we could do. Is there anything you guys want to focus on to make sure we get to it?
I just have two quick mentions of the art's fucking insane, and like I don't know if you could say that there's a game with better art than this, probably just the same, especially in the pixel art world. And then a grander discussion would be like the music of the game, because I felt like the music didn't have really emotional highs like something like Expedition 33 did, but I think it fits quite well, but also felt kind of lacking in certain spots.
Dude, that's crazy. That is like 1-to-1 my opinion. I was like thinking about the music today and I was like, you know what? Like overall the soundtrack's really good. It does spend a lot of time being like kind of like mid background noise, like stuff that I like there's probably more than a few tracks in the game that I'd be like, where the fuck did I hear that? Cuz it just wasn't very memorable.
Yeah.
But outside of the Unity ending, allegedly, when the soundtrack needs to hit, it fucking hits.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that this game has like a interesting middle ground, I think, between the theory of something like Dark Souls, where there's no music outside of boss battles. It takes kind of a middle ground there, where there's good tracks in between. It's not like an Undertale where like every single song is a fucking banger for everything because it uses its leitmotifs so well. But I think that this game does a great job of kind of reining it in for certain songs in order to draw emphasis for the really fucking good ones. And the like environmental songs it uses because of that are really good. The first example I think of is Eugene's Shop, which is like kind of fine, like chill shop tune. But then fucking Nestor takes it over and it's just this like super fucked up version with like fucking
cool.
moaning in the background and shit. But yeah.
I think the potentially almost the funniest thing in the game to me is the Eugene Shop song. Like it was just really fucking goofy. Like I don't know. But yeah, that's a good shout out. Like when it changes, that's like it's fucking awesome.
It's awesome when it changes, and like I don't know about you guys, but Eugene was my favorite character leading all the way up until his death because of how useful the shop was.
That's so funny.
And then for him to so unceremoniously get fucking bodied, and then you go in the back rooms and you find the note where like he donated all of his life savings to charity. He he did volunteer work whenever he could, was so fucking funny to me that was a laugh out loud moment.
Yeah.
That
go ahead, Ben.
I didn't even know that, but like that's so good. I didn't find that note, but that makes me love this shit so much more.
I didn't know about it either, but that is sick.
And it's and again, I keep harping on how expendable they all are, but that just makes it so funny to me because that shit is like pretty heartwarming, kind of, but in a super fucked up way.
That's what I was gonna say.
And to be clear, since you guys didn't see it, you can only see that note when he gets bodied by Nestor because that's how you get the key.
That's fucking hilarious.
I mean, I will say earlier I said there's not a lot of fuck you moments. I do think Merc and Eugene is a pretty fuck you moment.
The worst part about it is that he doesn't haggle. He will not haggle after he becomes Nestor.
That's fucking hilarious.
That's really good.
Dog, I just fucking killed him and took everything in the shop.
Why didn't I think about doing that?
God, dude,
it's so obvious now that you say it. Why didn't I just do that? Why did I put up with him?
But it doesn't restock anymore if you do that, right?
Yeah, it doesn't restock, but you get everything for free.
Reactivity.
That makes sense.
Insane.
That is amazing. As like another point on the music, like even though I was describing where like the music kind of reaches a low point, I think that is in some of those like kind of forgettable environmental soundtracks, but the accompaniment to that is really like way too good for an RPG Maker game like sound design. Like the actual environmental sound design of like traversing through the sewers and all these other places and like even just walking through the floors of the apartment. It's like, why is this so fucking good?
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys because like assuredly a number of us have missed a number of songs just through a playthrough naturally. Have you guys gone in and listened to the soundtrack?
No, not all of it.
No, I have not.
Highly recommend. There are like 122 tracks or something.
Jesus Christ.
And there's a lot of good ones. Some of my favorites are Verminator and Honko's theme. They're fucking incredible.
Yeah, I think an issue with making a game like this is you have to create ambience, or at least creators have the idea that ambience is a pivotal experience delivered with it. But for me, ever since I played Void Stranger, I think that game changed my idea of music in games, because you can have crazy shit go on regardless of what the situation is if you're a good composer. So like, I do want to listen to the soundtrack because I do think I missed a lot of like where the 6 songs are, but I think that it's also a slight failure to not have more like bangers or 6 songs readily available to the player.
Yeah, like I said, I do tend to agree with that, but like I think that like I don't know. I just think that like when the soundtrack called for being good, like especially like in the ending when you first go out on the roof and then the 4 nutsacks fight, like all of those songs are just so fucking good. So like if the trade-off to have like really peak high moments in the soundtrack was that like some of the environmental songs were just a little bit forgettable, like not even bad, just forgettable. Like that's a trade I'm willing to make.
Sure, yeah. Again, I don't think it was bad. I just don't think it hit. I don't think this game ever wins best soundtrack in any year except maybe 2014 because that year sucked. But like, it's tough for this game to win best soundtrack. But it's like, not bad.
The fact that like when in my head I'm thinking about the soundtrack of this game, I'm like trying to draw analogs to how I feel about like fucking like Expedition 33. Like the soundtrack is very fucking good. It's not quite like super generationally peak, but it's very fucking good.
Yeah, I am ashamed to admit I did have to ask myself if I liked this soundtrack more than Expedition 33. The answer is no, and it's the
that's
same
fine.
argument I've made in the past, which is a volume proposition where there's a lot in this, but it's not 6.5 hours worth like Expedition 33.
Mm-hmm. I think for me, it just doesn't have the highs that Expedition 33 does, and especially not with the emotional ties. Like I think Expedition 33 both has fantastic use of music via the unique tracks, and then just like when it shows up and like how it like embodies the feeling of like the characters and everything is like unparalleled. Like good fucking luck.
Yeah, like if Expedition 33 like sets the standard of like what a 10 out of 10 soundtrack is, I think Look Outside is like either a really strong 7 or like a low 8, and that's still very fucking good.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a little bit lower for me, but again, like I'm not pissed about it.
I think it's probably closer to like a 9 for me if Expedition 33 is a 10, just because in terms of just the music itself, it's so fucking listenable. Like, oh my god, I play it at work and I just can't stop.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah, I think for me, maybe it's not so much the soundtrack, because again, I probably didn't hear, I'm going to say half of the songs. I probably just didn't hear them. It's more of, it didn't feel like there were that many tracks presented to me in a playthrough of the game. And when I thought that I was going to hear a track with like certain bosses and stuff, it just used the generic boss music and things along that nature. And there was a lot of ambient music. So like the soundtrack itself might be really good, but the implementation within the game to me was not as good as it could have been.
Yeah, for sure.
I do absolutely have to agree with that because of what I already told you, Jordan. But pursuing the Unity ending, and you get to the final boss of it, which is like Cronenberg Sybil, and it's just the bog standard boss music, was probably the biggest disappointment in this game by a lot. That being said, and this is just cope, but I can firmly respect the chutzpah of hiring a composer to make some banger ass fucking soundtracks, saying, wow, these soundtracks are fucking awesome. Let's put them behind some of the most gated content in the entire game that no one is going to find. I can respect that.
That is cool. Yes. And also, it's not hiring. I think that these guys are just partners. Like they've worked together for like 20 years. So I don't think that he was like, hey, do you want, let me pay you to do this. They probably just worked on this project together.
Oh. All right, less respect, but still.
Yeah. Because I mean, they both worked on, like Tom mentioned at the start of the hour, Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, which came out in 2008. And now here they are in 2026.
All right, Thomas, you certainly have some questions in here. Do you want to hit any of these before we go into ratings?
I think we pretty much talked about all the stuff in one way or another.
I think we can have a whole nother episode on this game if we really wanted to, just talking about like the endings and shit. Like,
for real.
Yeah,
we could talk about this game for easy another 2.5 hours.
I wasn't going to go into any of the details of the Tom slop because that was just me vomiting thoughts for you guys going into this thing. But I think we pretty much hit everything. Yeah, everything interesting to talk about. Like, I was curious how you guys felt about those like secondary stats, like morale, hygiene, social, whatever. I don't know if they do anything.
Do they do anything?
Yeah, they do stuff. So there's like but specifically, they don't do anything good. They only do negative. So if you let your hygiene get too low, you become smelly, and then like enemies are more attracted to you, and you dodge less. It's things like that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that's great.
So it's like the two that I got was smelly. It might have been dirty. I don't remember. And lonely. And I forgot what lonely does, but yeah, it's not positives. You prevent negatives from keeping them high.
Yeah, I feel like I never had to worry about them because I took a shower and brushed my teeth before I went to bed every night, and I played a lot of video games, and ate a lot of food, so that like kept my social thing up.
This guy's playing fucking Second Life inside Look Outside.
Bro, taking a shower gave you like 60 hygiene. That shit was crazy.
Yeah.
And at some point, if you don't brush your teeth, you eat a meal and he goes, oh, I feel something filmy over my teeth. When's the last time I brushed?
That's something we didn't touch on, but it's super cool. Like the Ben kind of touched on it, but the apartment interactions with everything going on, like like just how they interact with each other and how like that gives them personality there. I think that's fucking crazy, and probably is only crazier because I only got 3 companions, never mind the 18 that I possibly can. So I can't imagine how much shit is tied behind those interactions.
Yeah, there must be so fucking.
Yeah.
There must be so
And they're
much.
cool.
Yeah, there must be so much script we just never saw
Yeah.
or will see.
I really wanted to see if I could find a text dump for this game, but I don't know if it's out there.
Yeah, like even the ones that I got between just like Sophie and stuff, when like you make her food and everything, and like what Ben said when you make Ernest food, like there's got to be so fucking many interactions.
It is crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And you know what? We found out that Thomas is a shower before he sleeps person instead of a when he wakes up person, which is the most fucked up thing.
I've been doing that for the last few years. It's fucking awesome. I get like a few extra minutes of sleep every morning. I don't go to bed gross, you know?
I would have to do both.
Well, Thomas, some of us wake, we roll around in our sleep a little bit, so we wake up a little sweaty and we gotta, go in the shower in the morning. Fuck you.
That's fair. My room is cold as fuck, so yeah, that never happens.
I think both is probably the most sane, but who the fuck wants to do that?
Yeah.
It's like doubling my water usage, doubling my soap usage. Well, not necessarily, but probably.
Weirdly enough, I'm a shower in the nighttime kind of guy when it's a school night, and I shower in the morning on the weekends. I don't know why. That's just how I do it.
I will sometimes bathe for relaxation before I go to bed, but never in a shower.
Bath is a good call.
All right, it is ratings time. Let's go top to bottom. Haha, Thomas first. Oh, honestly, sorry, I forgot to ask if you guys wanted to hit anything first. Are we ready to go to ratings?
I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
Again, like we could talk about this game for 3 more hours, but I think we hit off everything important to talk about.
Like I feel like this discussion was almost like limiting to not talk about like nitty-gritty narrative autistic stuff, but like yeah, for sure. Honestly, I don't have a whole lot of like super interesting stuff to say about this game because it just doesn't really feel like I play games very often that just stick everything. Like the writing, we never even talked about the writing, but like the prose and the writing of this game, oh my god, it's so fucking good. Like the art, the music, the plot, like fucking everything. Like it just fires on every conceivable cylinder that it has. And I think that the only thing that I could really fault this game for is that the actual combat, like the inside of the combat, like Dragon Quest screen, kind of teeters a bit too far into like generic territory. But I think that the overall mechanics and the balance of the systems around it lend itself to the combat actually becoming a little more insidiously like complex than it seems at the first pass. And it becomes more of a test of this like resource management system than it really is anything else. Like it becomes less about like just hit the thing and become an overstated god, and it becomes more about this like slow deliberate resource drain that actually fits like the vibe of the game's narrative like perfectly. So other than that though, I honestly just can't praise this fucking game enough. Like the soundtrack is amazing. It like drifts through genres at times. It's got a lot of memorable moments. When it needs to be good, it needs to be good. Like I said, the writing of this game, again, we never talked about it, but it does a really good job of walking this delicate tightrope of like millennial postmodern internet person tone without like fully swan diving into this self-aggrandizing cringe or like fucking cavorting into full-on 16-year-old Tumblr slop. Like it's actually genuinely smart and pointed and at times even poignant, and it's never up its own ass or trying to like insist that you appreciate just how incredibly smart it is. It's just really fucking good. And then aside from some like very slight UI UX gripes that I have, like mashing through dialogue was a fucking royal pain in the ass randomly sometimes when it would like fucking select a fucking dialogue option and it would loop over again, but whatever, that's more on me than anything else. But outside of those small things and the combat being a bit of a snooze fest, this is as close to perfect as the vast majority of games will ever get in their lives as a 9.5 out of 10.
Fuck.
So close.
Just right.
I think I started with a 9.5 and bumped it down to 9 for something. I don't remember what.
I like how you said I don't have much to say about this game, and then you said probably more than the rest of us are going to say.
Yeah.
No, I said I didn't have anything interesting to say.
Oh, okay.
Oh, just a lot.
Yeah, quantity over quality.
I do want to highlight that I repeat talked to Lyle probably like 40 times just because I got owned every time by the dialogue box would start and he would say so with 3 dots and then his choices would come up and I'd pick the same one.
Yeah.
I did that
Yep.
so many fucking times.
I
and
did
it
that
was just for
same.
him.
A bunch of fucking NPCs.
For me, it was really bad with Lyle for some reason. Like just some way that they got me to fucking fake out. I talked to him so many times. So that's a good call out. But yeah, I actually don't have much to say about the game, especially since Tom kind of just said a lot of the things that I'm thinking. I really just have like tiny pet peeves with the game, and I don't even think that they're like worth bringing up. But like kind of like the soundtrack one is like a big one that I mentioned. But for me, like I just think the game is basically like an undeniable game, and I don't know if anyone can really say it's bad, other than if you have a fetish for clowns and you don't like the game. So
Nice
for
try.
me, it's a 9.5 out of 10.
Damn, I underrated.
Oh, I got there.
I went with my
That was
gut.
a good call,
and,
Thomas.
I did my rule of lowering, like deciding on a score for Jordan and then lowering it, and it didn't work out this time.
Yeah, you got owned because you talked to me and you got the pet peeve side. So you definitely got owned by that.
Is this your highest rated game?
No, Claire Obscure was a 10.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, I also don't have much to say. No, I mean, I'll keep it simple. I said it earlier, I'll say it again. I think that a game should try in its mission statement to evoke something out of you. And in my favorite games, that is like a commonality. Like Outer Wilds is trying to evoke a sense of wonder and fear of the unknown, but then also resolve it by the end of the game. Baldur's Gate 3 is trying to evoke in you a sense of grandeur at the sheer volume that that game offers you. Signalis is trying to evoke. I don't even want to get into that one because that one's complicated, but it's trying to evoke a lot out of you. Let's just leave it at that. In this game, Lovecraft is my favorite author. Like Thomas said, Evangelion, fucking dope. This game's just fucking sick. It missed nowhere. As soon as I thought that it started to miss in places, I went to the wiki and looked up a couple things, and no, okay. The rest of these endings are fucking sick. Nope. Okay. All of these companions are fucking sick. Okay. Nope. The rest of this dialogue is fucking sick. I was kind of torn between a 9.5 and a 10 coming into tonight. But talking to you guys about this game and how much Does Perfect has only filled my stomach with more butterflies than I already had regarding my excitement for the quality of this game. Go listen to the soundtrack that you missed in your first playthrough because there are so many fucking good tracks in this game. This game's a 10.
Hell yeah. You guys suck.
Close enough.
Damn it, dude. I went with my 2025 strategy of hedging on 9.5, even though I was
Yeah.
pretty sure it was going to be a 10.
I think the core difference for me, because I rated Claire Obscure a 9.5, the core difference for me is that the combat is significantly less egregious in this game compared to that when you're just trying to like get through the narrative because you can just hold the confirm button.
Man, that's funny because
That's funny.
for me, actually, the differentiator between Claire Obscure being a 10 and this game being a 9.5 is that I thought the combat of Claire Obscure was a lot more fun.
Yeah, I agree with Tom. That's not why it's a 9.
I'm
That's
on
not-
the Seth
that's not my
side.
score, but
I'm on the Seth side completely. That just speaks to exactly what I'm looking for. It's just like because there's so much friction in the game. I liked that the combat is bland and not that
That's fair,
complicated.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, like, Yeah, no, never mind. You're right.
It both
It's
makes sense.
bland if you want it to be, and it doesn't get in the way. Like there's a lot that you can push out of the game. That's why cursed mode is possible to
Yeah.
even beat.
I feel
But-
like the analogy that I would use is that like this game is like a bowl of white, or like the combat in this game is like a bowl of white rice after eating a succulent Chinese meal. You know, like it's like everything you just ate was awesome, and now I'm going to chow down on my little palate cleanser. It's not bad. It's actually pretty good, but it's not the succulent Chinese meal, you know?
I thought you were going to say the combat of this game was like cooking the meal but not eating it, because the combat of this game is about prepping for combat more than it is executing, which is why I think Clair Obscur owns, because it's everything. It's prepping for the combat and then executing in like an action RPG style combat system, where this game is like the actual combat itself like kind of sucks, but the resource management around the combat owns.
Yeah, exactly. It's the white rice.
Yep.
But Expedition 33 is like a nice big bowl of pho.
Yeah.
It doesn't need white rice. Shit's just good.
But I could also understand Ben's point and Seth's point of like not liking the level of engagement you need to put into the combat, right? Like if it doesn't click, it's a negative for Expedition.
Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. And like there are definitely like RPGs where if it had more involved, like if I went and fucking played like Pokemon Blue or some shit, like I don't want all this shit that Expedition 33 has. Let me just fucking spam Psychic and watch everything die.
For
So
sure.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I look at a lot of turn-based games the exact same way, no matter how well they institute some of their mechanics. And it's the Final Fantasy VIII in me that wants to put a ton of work in at the start so that I can do nothing for the rest of the game.
That's funny.
Geared it up, Ben?
Yeah, so like when I played this game, the thing that I thought about at the very end, from like the whole totality of my experience, was that like this was by far the best game I've ever played in terms of like invoking the despair that you should feel from something that is Lovecraftian. Because I played a bunch of Lovecraftian video games and I can't think of a single one that was good. But this one, like, it's the only time where I felt like this like morbid curiosity about everything, and I liked that. It really did make me want to pick Planescape Torment at some point, because it not they have like completely different scopes in what they're trying to do, but one thing that they do in common is that like they come up with like really creative outcomes for like the questions that you have. Like if this happens, then what happens to these characters at the end? And they extrapolate it so out of like any proportion that is reasonable, that's just like super butterfly affects like every single ending in this game. So like the most like it goes from the most mundane thing to like literally like celestial universal cosmic bullshit. And that's why I think this game is original, even though it's technically like mechanically everything is derivative in this game. Like it's like every mechanic's been done, but I feel like every game is derivative at that point. And the reason why this feels so original is just like, if you were to like really put a gun to my head and say like what game is like Look Outside, even if it's derivative of like a bunch of stuff like Funger, like I'm not gonna think of Funger first. I'm gonna think of this game first, because this game is just simply more accessible in that it had Explorer and you could save anywhere. Whereas like something like Funger, even though it came first, I never played it, so it doesn't matter to me, I guess. I don't know if that's like the right perspective to have, but what I will say is that this game I rate a 10 out of 10.
Son of a bitch.
God damn.
Son of a bitch.
We all rated the same.
That wasn't actually a hedge, because I actually thought it was going to be 9.5. Damn, is this the new highest rated game? No, right?
Clair Obscur needed 10, 10, 10, 9.5 to be the highest rated, because Ben rated it a 9.75. So it's like a Clair Obscur can never tie a game.
Yeah, if we're adjusting for inflation, this game beats Expedition 33.
Yeah, because I looked at that ahead of time, because I was like, the only one I didn't give a 10 was Ben, and I was like, Ben's gonna need to give it a 10 because I know mine's a 9.5 to beat Expedition 33. So I think it's the second highest rated though.
Yeah, and it's 9.75 average. Crazy.
Yeah, and I do have to like shout out the pros, which we already glazed. I'm gonna glaze it one last time, because I played this game only once and I got what I think everyone in the universe would consider a bad ending. You just turn into a fucking monster and go crazy,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. And I thought that, like, even though it's a bad ending, I fucking loved it. And then I read all the other endings, and just from reading the text, I was like, this is like masterclass creative writing. Like, there's just none better.
Yeah, 100% agreed.
Yeah.
And I even down to what you're saying about originality is like kind of the point I was trying to make earlier, distilled a little better. Because yeah, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
If you guys really want to see what, in my opinion, is the peak of creative writing in this game, look up the spine dialogue for remaking you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God.
I don't even know what that means, and I don't know who Spine is, even though you guys brought him up a couple times.
I mean, that's a common thing with this game, dude. There's probably things you guys could
Oh,
mention
yeah.
where I would be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like there's so many character names that I read on the wiki that I'm just like, who the fuck is that? Like
Yeah.
I never even heard of this person, and they have like some core critical role.
It's fucking crazy, man. And like Ben said, just to reiterate on the pros, like I think it's like perfect. Like it does all of that cool shit without being douchey, and it's so easy to be douchey when you take on
Yes.
this style. It's so easy, and they don't. It's never douchey.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that's why I was making all those comparisons to Tides of Numenera in the spoiler chat. Is like, I didn't hate the prose in that game, but it was douchey.
Yeah.
This game
That's why I
has
hate it.
phenomenal prose, and it's accessible, and it's not douchey.
Yeah, Tides of Numenera was like written in like an almost like academic look what I can do way, which no one like, yeah, sure, you can write, I agree, but I don't want to read it.
Correct. Yeah. That's like a really good way to put it. Of like, yes, it's good writing, but no, it's not good writing.
Yeah. Like if you submitted Tides of Numenera for your like English college thesis, maybe you would get an ace, but no one reads English college theses.
I think the teacher puts an A on it, but they're like, ugh, do I have to?
This guy's gonna be a fucking prick in a year.
You know, sometimes I honestly think that like when you give really good writers the constraint of an RPG Maker text box like this, like it's like if you are already a person who can write well, then trying to sort of adapt to the rhythm and flow that you need to when writing in a game like this, like a Super Nintendo RPG Maker game, whatever, right? Like you have to come up with like these weird solutions that don't exist when you're just like writing for a game like Torment or Expedition 33 or whatever.
Yeah.
And like the creative ways that dudes like C. Boyardee and Michel Coulomb or whatever his name is came up with in this game are like it's second to none. Like, and you could tell how incredible of a writer someone is by being able to write this well in this medium exactly.
What's the quote that's like restrictiveness creates innovation or whatever? Does anyone know the quote I'm talking about?
I know what you're saying,
Like
but
the
yeah.
idea, but it's basically like, why is it that Chrono Trigger is considered the best RPG ever, even though it's fucking 30 fucking years old? It's because like you don't need all of these crazy tools, and anything when the scope gets too wide, you lose the sauce. Like having limitations is what creates like fantastic art.
Yeah, and it's like imposing those limits on writing specifically is like it's a really good exercise. Like anyone who writes should like just go write for random online writing contests because they will always have a word count, and that word count will be like 500, 800, 1200, like something that once you start writing and you're like, all right, time to trim this back to the word count, you're going to be like, what the fuck? I'm like 3 times over the word count. And so now it's like the ways that you have to try and figure out how to say what you wanted to say with 2,000 words versus 500 words is something that just it ends up making you a better writer because you just figure out how to be more concise and less of a dickhead. And this game did a really good job at conciseness and non-dickheadedness.
I think in addition to that, like I think every interaction is certainly concise. Like, I can't think of very many text boxes that go more than like 3 or 4 text boxes in a sequence before there's like another option or whatever. But there's so fucking much of it. There's so much dialogue.
Like the only time that this game really like dialogue dumps on you and kind of gives you a bunch of exposition is the literal end of the game.
It's not even that much.
Yeah, it's
It's
not
still
even that much.
restricted in a way that is marvelously conveyed to the player of what's going on. But again, it's not douchey, and it has the supporting visuals that are fucking phenomenal.
I still can't believe this was one of my first things I said to Jordan after I finished the game. I can't believe how many panels there are for
Yeah.
each ending. Like go look at the I can't remember if it's Jin Amon or the other one where it's like a giant rat beast is like taking over the world. There's like 12 stills as it just slowly zooms in on this creature, and it's the same thing with Perfect Ritual Truth. Like this was not necessary. You did not need to do this.
Wait,
oh, it's so good though.
Quick vibe check. Am I the only one who read that thing's name as Cinnamon all this time?
It's supposed to be like cinnamon. I pronounce it Shinamon, because I think it's like supposed to be Chinese. That's the closest thing, but it's supposed to be cinnamon. Yes, that's like the
I didn't put that together. That's great.
See, isn't it? See, that's this game though. It's like everything is thought out, and that's like another thing about like the game design. You can interact with everything. There's like 2 doors that you can't go through, and it's because they lead to the outside. Like everything is interactable, everything makes sense, everything is well thought out. Like it's undeniable.
Yeah, we could definitely keep glazing this game for another 2 hours.
Game fucking owns.
The 2 things.
Came out of nowhere.
The quote for Tom was related to what Tom was saying about that. Was one of my favorite quotes is, "If I had more time, I'd write you a shorter letter." I think that's like perfect. And then also the quote that I was mentioned that I got completely wrong was from Plato, which is necessity is the mother of invention.
Facts. Fucking facts. I think this game is a perfect illustration of that.
Yep. Lovely game. Came out of absolutely fucking nowhere. Got nothing at TGA, as I wouldn't expect a game like this. One of the best games of 2025, which is already a goated fucking year. Don't play it if you have trypophobia.
I played it anyway, pussy.
I will say, despite it being one of the best games of 2025, for me, it's still the 3rd best game of 2025, which is fucking insane.
Fucking crazy.
Actually fucking nuts.
Would've won everything in 2024, for the record.
Wait, what's the second?
Blueprints.
Oh, right, of course. All right, man. What a lovely game this was. What are we doing next week, boys?
I don't even remember. What are we doing?
Oh shit! What are we doing?
Starvaders. Jordan, this was your pick.
I picked Starvaders, and it's mainly because I bought it when it came out, and I saw since then it's had a couple updates. And when I played it, I only did my typical Slay the Spire style game, which is play the first run, beat the first run, never play it again. So this is a reason for me to actually play it more, because I think it deserves a little more recognition than that, because I think it has a cool hook in the genre.
I'm gonna do the Jordan psychology with you guys. I've already beaten it.
Is that true?
You beat a run, right?
I beat several.
Oh, nice. Did you beat him on the hardest difficulty?
I have almost unlocked the 3rd mech.
Nice.
Which requires beating the hardest difficulty on the other 2.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah,
You're much further than me.
You guys are way much further than me.
I've
played 3 or 4 runs.
Yeah, I think I've played 3 or 4 runs, and I've beaten 2.
Same.
And my initial vibe on this game is good so far. It's nice.
Yeah, same.
I'm gonna have for the rest of time, I'm gonna have the song that plays in stage 1 stuck in my head. The do 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 do. That's gonna be stuck in my head fucking forever.
Yeah, I can't wait to pick Toho 15 for my next game. You're just gonna hear the same kind of songs all over again.
I can't wait for every single game that we do quick notifications for the week before, me being yeah, you know what? So far I feel pretty good about this game, and then syntheticing it the next week, because that's literally what happened with that game. I played 2 runs and I was like, man, this game seems pretty cool. And it was all downhill from there.
Man, the worst example of that was Jordan with Control.
Oh yeah, you guys got owned by that. But that wasn't on here though, I don't think though, because that was in Discord where I told you that I thought about, am I gonna play GTA 6 because of playing Control? Which I still stick with.
Yeah.
Like the game has like a cool, like generic gameplay hook, but the fact that it doesn't go anywhere is why it ended so low for me.
I remember you saying, I think in the episode before, I forgot shooty games could be fun.
Yeah,
That
that's
fucked
what
me
it
up real
was.
bad. Anyway, that was Look Outside. Thank you for listening.
Bye.